Good morning, my little pog champs. Hello, my little pog champs. Pog champ. Hello. Howdy. Howdy, howdy. Even. What's up? What does your shirt say? It says raw. You got a problem with that? Rose Wrist called you out. Uh-oh. Drama to start with. That's what I like to see. Wait, why aren't I following Rose Wrist on Twitter? Have I... Did Rose Wrist make a new Twitter? Huh. That's weird. I'm almost positive I was following Rose Wrist on Twitter. Huh. You can force somebody to unfollow by blocking and unblocking? Yeah, but they still follow me, so why would they soft block if they're following me? That kind of defeats the point, right? I guess I just must have forgotten to. Huh. That's strange. Let's get this all started. Oh, God. There's always so much to talk about. Thoughts on the new CDC guidelines? I'll talk about that in a second. Vashian, stop doing this on Twitter. Oh, it's the cop thing. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't care about this at all. I think it's really dumb. The whole, like, retweeting the video of the cop looking like he's planting the evidence, but then it turns out that he wasn't. How are you supposed to get police departments to release information unless there's outrage on social media? The police department literally said, outrage on social media is the reason why they released that, you know? Also, how do you know when enough info has come out about an issue that you can comment on it, you know? Do you ever get to comment on anything because there might be some, like, information that comes out later? I don't know. Can you give a concentration tutorial? I literally have ADHD. Which, by the way, I have medication coming in for. Yeah. I'm, like, literally the worst possible person. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, pay me for my mediocrity. Just pump me up. How'd you get meds? Did you get diagnosed? I just had a little, online appointment kind of thing. And, unfortunately, without an in-person consultation, I can't get approved for controlled substances, like, Adderall or Ritalin. But I can get approved for... What's the name of it, Hyena? What's the name of the, non-controlled substance? Wellbutrin, thank you. So we'll touch on that, and we'll see if we can move further. Shu posting Vosh W's because he won't do it himself. This feels so fucking congratulatory. But it's true. Isn't this crazy? It's pretty wild. Damn. That's over just a few months, too. Now, I need to trim my beard right now, so maybe... Yeah, same shirt. Look at that. Who is he? Who is that man? Important. Big question. Yeah, Fatty Ann is dead. True. Grats, I've done the opposite. No worries. People assign way too much moral value to the weight that they're at, okay? Look, there is no such thing as being shamed for your weight, all right? That's cringe. That's super cringe. All right? What you should be shamed for is your lack of discipline. And if you, in a disciplined manner, want to weigh 250 pounds because you want to eat a fuck ton of cheesecake, that is your fucking God-given right, okay? If you are committed and actualized to eating a lot of cheesecake, that is based, all right? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay? 250, 300, I don't fucking care, okay? Live your life. Just do it confidently and be what you want to be. Girl, B-A-R-B-I-E, girl. That's the Barbie song, at least. It's one of them. Yeah, that's your hormones, Hyena. I have no fucking idea. Legit, Hyena or Vermin or whatever eats like one lettuce leaf a day. I have no idea what the fuck their metabolism is. I just got fucking misgendered by Vosh. Uh-oh. What, because I called you all guys? Got shit genetics, yeah. You'll get skinnier with ADHD meds? Yeah, maybe. I'm currently eating straight out of a pint of Ben & Jerry's Vosh Lamau. Based. Based. Tim is showing his head. Yeah, Tim's been doing a lot of anti-vax stuff lately. I wonder how many people will quit their jobs over mandatory vaccinations that apply for unemployment. Employers that mandate vaccines are liable for any adverse events that occur. What do they mean? What does he mean, liable for any adverse events that occur? Does he mean, like, liable for them having side effects to vaccinations? Because that's not true. That's extremely not true. Since when have employers or the government ever been liable for any side effects you get from mandatory vaccinations? Like on your vaccine card? That's never been the case. I don't know why he's saying this. Also, nobody's going to quit their job, then apply for unemployment over the mandatory vaccination requirement for a job. Are you even eligible for unemployment if you quit? No. That's the thing. No. Yeah, this is wrong on, like, multiple layers here. I had a 350 deadlift at 140, be proud. Shit, real? You deadlifted 1.5 times your body weight? That's really impressive. Nicely done. Wait, 2.5 times, not 1.5, 2.5 times your body weight, sorry. That is really impressive. I still can't do a pull-up. I haven't been able to do a pull-up in a long time, you know? And also, the calisthenics that I do, they don't really work my arms out, you know? So, chin-ups are easier trust. Chin-up, maybe. I forget which one's which, you know? Does wishing that I was a woman make me trans? Well, assuming you're not already a woman, or at least you weren't assigned a woman at birth, it's might be an indicator, you know? Might be pointing you in a direction you might want to think about a little bit, possibly. You like running at all? I've got bad ankles. Can't run that well. I like swimming. Wellbutrin is gonna make you a zombie for 3 weeks. Be careful. Can anyone corroborate that? From everything I looked up, Wellbutrin seems to be a, doesn't seem to have that effect. It's a stimulant. Please don't listen to chatters who had a bad experience. Yeah, I probably shouldn't listen to a fucking live stream chat about medication side effects. I'll be taking a low dosage, you know, what is the strongest muscle in your body? You mean me specifically, or like human beings in general? For humans in general, the strongest muscle in our body is our quads, right? Aren't those the largest? Or is it the glutes? Or is it the lower back? It's something like that. In terms of strongest muscle per pound, I think it's your tongue. Relative to its size, the tongue is the strongest muscle. Which is kind of funny, but yeah. I think it's the jaw. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I think they meant in your arm. Well, there are only, like, 2 muscles in your upper arm, so kind of a weak competition, isn't it? I mean, Yeah, the tricep is larger than the bicep by far. Aren't all muscles made of the same cells? No, there are differences. What's my strongest bone? Ask your dad. WB greatly increases my executive functioning, but not my focus. The opposite for Adderall. Interesting. Well, I guess we'll see, huh? We're gonna see if we can take Wellbutrin and start getting it in the bloodstream in time for the Charlie Kirk thing, so we can be in hyper mode. You know that the one comic where it's like, I took experimental brain pills. Oh, did it make you smart? No, I'm stupid faster. That's what we're going with. We're going to be the fastest dumbass there is. All right. Very low stimulant, antidepressant, works well on me. Hoping it's well. We'll see. We'll see. Wellbutrin gave me dissociative disorder. Okay, I think if we talk about this any further, you fuckers are just going to give me anxiety. Okay. All right. Okay. Just chill out. Okay. All right. So noted. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'll talk to a doctor. It gave me diarrhea. Okay, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, now I need anxiety meds. Thanks, you guys. Now we gotta go even further. We gotta dive in even harder. Thanks, assholes. God. I like Matt Walsh's Twitter because it works really well as performance art, because he says, like, the worst take every time, but then he doesn't get ratioed for it, because all of his followers agree with the worst takes imaginable. I immediately lose all respect for anyone who chooses to wear a mask at this point. Wearing a mask is a sign of a deep character flaw, not to mention significant intellectual deficiencies. Again, I did this yesterday, and I'm being very mean here, but just imagine looking at this guy in the eyes when he says this, okay? Imagine, like, the smarmy, like, lisp and, like, the spittle. Imagine the soy, the soy, like, the pertness of his lips as he opens and closes his mouth, you know? I just want to say, if anyone has ever called me soy, but they're a fan of Matt Walsh, I have no idea what you're doing, where your priorities are, or what your eyesight is, but, man. Anyway, the new CDC guidelines are definitely something to be concerned about. Can somebody provide that tweet for me? Why does his bio say he's a fascist? Because he is? I don't know. Probably because people have accused him of being one, so he put it up there, like, ironically, but it's not ironic. He actually is one, you know? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. Give me the damn CDC tweet. Yeah, like the Big Papa fascist thing. The big bluff. Anyway, the CDC has been pushing for people to... Okay, if you're not going to do it, fine, I'll do it. God almighty. I can't do it. Is it this? Thanks. Delta variant surging in U.S. New data shows Delta much more contagious than previous versions of COVID-19. Unvaccinated people get vaccinated and masked until you do. Everyone in areas of substantial or high transmission should wear a mask, even if vaccinated. So, here's the problem, okay? So what they're saying right here is objectively correct. The problem is that, like... And this is a problem that Fauci has had in the past as well. If you don't give people the impression that their vaccination and masking is going to lead towards them, like, going back to normal, they're not going to do it, you know? Like, it really demoralizes the public when people are like, vaccinate so things can go back to normal, and then people get vaccinated and they get this again. Now, I will say this. If you're unvaccinated, you have no right to complain about this. If you're unvaccinated, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care how sad or mad this makes you. It's your fucking fault. I don't care about you, okay? I do not care. You can cry about this until you go dehydrated from the tears, until your throat goes hoarse, okay? Yes, unvaccinated by choice. Yes, unvaccinated by choice. Yes, of course, okay? If you're vaccinated, you can be mad about this, okay? And people just aren't going to listen to this, you know? They're just not going to listen to this. Unironically, we need to start throwing out blame, shame people into vaccinations when possible. Yeah, for sure. Listen, let's talk about positive and negative freedoms, okay? Let me ask you all a question. Is a man free if he's dropped in the middle of an endless desert with no food or water but no laws to constrain him? A libertarian might say yes. Because there's no law restricting him. He can do whatever he wants. He can teabag the sand. He can pee his name in the sand. He can do a lot of things with the sand because there's not much else to interact with. And then he has the freedom to die, which he will do, no doubt, in short order. That's his freedom. Now, let me ask you. Does he become more free or less free if he is under the jurisdiction of a provisional desert government, which taxes him a modicum of his income, but provides water stations and food that he can access? Has he become more or less free? Well, I mean, he has to pay taxes now, and there are probably laws to follow as well. You probably can't rob the water stations or food, so in a very strict libertarian sense, yeah, he is less free. He is now faced with more tyranny than he was before. But in reality, of course, he now has the freedom to live. That is his freedom now. See, unfortunately, freedoms don't mean very much unless institutions exist to protect them. You know? Freedom is rather meaningless in environments where nature will guarantee your death in short order. Or many other such circumstances. You know? It's not that simple. So, here's the thing. Do people have a right, a freedom, to not get vaccinated? The answer is yeah, they do. That's their right, and that is a freedom they have. They are more free if they have the ability to reject the vaccine. This makes sense? Okay, now here's another one, all right? What about other people's freedom to not live on a planet that is constantly broiling with an ever-worsening COVID pandemic? What about everyone else's freedom to live on a planet not beset by endless plague? How about that one? Is that a freedom worth protecting? Follow-up question. Which freedom is more worth protecting? People's right to not get vaccinated, or protecting the planet from an ongoing and ever-worsening pandemic that cycles infinitely because we never get it under control enough? Now, I would like it to not have to come to that point. Some people will say it's authoritarian to force people to take their vaccinations, and that is absolutely true, by the way. That is an authoritarian stance to take. The state forcing a person to get vaccinated, that is an authoritarian thing to do. But it is also authoritarian to live under the crushing boot of a perpetual pandemic. You live then under the authority of natural cruelty. I mean, really, which limits your freedoms more? You have to go down for 2 15-minute shots at a local government office? Or having to constantly shape your life around the needs of an ever-worsening plague? I would like things to not come to that point, because I don't think they need to. But I am okay with vaccinations being incentivized in every imaginable way. If jobs want to require that you get vaccinated, go for it. If travel necessitates proof of vaccination, go for it. If government jobs require proof of vaccination, go for it. Schools, absolutely. If you're a medical worker, absolutely. And I don't care about your complaining. Because your freedom to get to work and travel with impunity without getting vaccinated is infinitely less important to me than the freedom of every human on Earth to not be subjected to the infinite pandemic. Okay? Significantly less so. Incentivize it if you want. I mean, you can say, hey, I'll pay you $100 to get vaccinated. The government's considering that. In New York, they're considering that. $100 if you get a vaccination. Good. Do it. Yeah, buy them off. I don't care. Yeah. Free dick suck. I don't care. Just fucking sex workers at every government vaccination location, okay? Just a glory hole that you, like, after you get the shot, you just stand there. I don't know. Just something. I don't know. Incentivize. I don't care. Or pussy slap. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever you're into. Look, I'm just saying, okay? Freedom is a really difficult, really abstract concept to get a hold on. How the hell do I argue this without sounding authoritarian as fuck? First of all, it's not authoritarian to say that you can't travel or work without a vaccine. You know why? Because the people who are bitching about this are saying that private airliners and private companies should be forced to accept their labor in spite of them not meeting a basic workplace health and safety requirement. So that's not an authoritarian take. The authoritarian take would be them asking the government to force businesses to accept their employment even though they are not vaccinated. Likewise with travel, and if the government doesn't want to employ people who aren't vaccinated, then go for it. They'll just use the bodily autonomy argument. Yeah, well then it is a big shame that those things are completely incomparable. The bodily autonomy argument with abortion is the state should not punish you for not wanting to use your body to be life support for another entity. The pandemic argument is the planet is literally incapable of recovering from a pandemic unless we all, as part of the social contract, maintain a baseline level of virus immunization. Very different. They're not even comparable. There are a lot of right-wingers who think this is some kind of big own, like, well, I thought you cared about bodily autonomy. Not holistically. We already mandate vaccinations. You can't go to school unless you have a vaccination card. They know that, right? You do know that, right? You already have to get vaccinated. This isn't new. This isn't a new thing. This isn't a new concept. We've already agreed on this. It's part of the social contract. You need to, because a baseline level of consistent immunization protects everyone else in society. It also, yeah, for traveling too. Countries won't let you in if you're not vaccinated. There are countries where you legit cannot enter their borders unless you're vaccinated. Why would they want unvaccinated people in their country? Why would they want to just kick off a potential for a virus, you know? No, they're incomparable. Vaccination is about the social contract. Simple as that. So that argument is just a complete non-starter. And with regards to sounding authoritarian, again, there's nothing authoritarian about the government and businesses not wanting to hire folks or schools not wanting to teach folks who haven't gotten their vaccinations. It's just not. The authoritarian step would be the government arresting or fining people for not getting vaccinations. Which, like I said, I would really not to arrive at. I'd really like to not be there, you know? Did I just say really like to arrive at? I meant to say really would not like to arrive at. My apologies. Really don't want to be there. Really, I don't want to be there. That's not what I want, okay? That's not the ideal way of solving this problem. I would rather pay people to get the virus or suck their dick. Not that I would want to suck the dick of anyone who would willingly not get the vaccine at this point, but something like that. There's literally nothing in the Constitution that prohibits the government from requiring you to get a shot. Yep. Ain't there. Well, did they even have vaccines when the Constitution was written? Probably not, so, you know. Did I say get the virus? I meant get the vaccine. You know what I mean. Hey, that's why we got ADHD meds today, okay? You all understand what I'm saying, right? We're advocating for freedom, okay? There is no greater an imposition on people's freedom than through your own selfishness and political bias, forcing them to live under the constant threat of plague. They had smallpox inoculation? Oh, gotcha. I didn't know that. Interesting. I didn't even know germ theory was the thing back then. That's cool. Oh, wait, George Washington forced the army to vaccinate against smallpox? That's kind of a funny parallel, considering modern conservatives are saying soldiers shouldn't have to get the COVID vaccination, thus worsening our military readiness. You know? Curious. Really makes you think. There was no germ theory, they just knew how inoculation worked. Interesting. It's a little bit like climate change, too. How much do you give a person the freedom to ruin the lives of others? You know? Let's simplify the equation, okay? Let's say that all oil, coal, and gas in the world was owned by one man. Let's just really simplify this, okay? It was all owned by one man, one guy, and he's like a trillionaire or something. He controls all of it, all right? He's a very old guy, too. Very old. He uses his money. He's sustained in some kind of life chamber, you know, like Mr. House. And this guy, you know, he knows about climate change. He figures it out in 1954. All right? He figures it out. He realizes that, continued use of the substances he has a monopoly on will eventually lead to the planet being made less inhabitable for human beings. Now, all of the things I'm about to describe are legal. Okay? He can buy off researchers in the industry to have them produce papers which provide claims contrary to the existence of global warming. He can lobby politicians. He can buy in and donate to campaigns and get political parties to deny the existence of climate change. He can buy up media companies and get them to relentlessly disseminate not only counterfactuals on climate change, but also relentless hyper-partisan hit pieces on everyone promoting the existence of climate change. And as the effects of climate change worsen and become more apparent with time, he can turn up the pressure. He can back far-right candidates around the world who don't care about the well-being of their population and will do or say anything that allows them to stay in the oligarch's grip. And as a product of this man's behavior, all of which, by the way, is perfectly legal, nothing that I have described would get him arrested under any circumstances. This is all legal behavior. This can all be done legally. Make friends all around the world, form political cabals dedicated towards the prevention of the development of green energy. He could do all this legally. And as a product of his actions, right after his death, billions of human beings' lives will be made measurably worse. Many of them will end as a product of his actions, from worsening and more frequent hurricanes, floods, typhoons, the water rising on coastal and island communities, climate refugees leading to resource deprivation and border skirmishes in Southeast Asia and Central America. I mean, an unfathomable amount of death and destruction, greater than any conflict in human history. World War II has nothing on it. The Cold War has nothing on it. The material harm done by this one man's actions outstrip, quite possibly, every war in human history combined. I mean, the devastation is immeasurable. The surface of the planet is changed. The consequences of this one man's behavior are written in the topography of the landscape. Now, which freedom is more worth preserving? His freedom to do all that legal shit, or the freedom for the planet to continue? Which is the pro-freedom stance? The one where he is shut down, his businesses expropriated, his industry nationalized, his workplaces regulated? Or the one in which he gets to tear apart the world? The only point I'm getting at here is that the conservative and sometimes the liberal attitude towards what is or is not freedom is incredibly fucked. And it's basically nonsensical. the freedom to destroy the freedom of others. Oftentimes, the freedoms we are most concerned with preserving are the ones which preserve the political and economic interests of the very powerful, and the freedoms we are unconcerned with are the real consequences of those behaviors. Does that make sense? So if I were to say, and I mean this sincerely, that if at any point in time in this hypothetical, the governments of the world marched armies down to whatever dystopian headquarters in Antarctica this man was operating his businesses from, and seized every asset he owns, this would be the least authoritarian stance. This would be the most pro-freedom stance. There is, in fact, nothing more pro-freedom than this. Damn, watching Vosh while working from home is hard. I bet. Do you think if longevity research has a breakthrough, it could shift the opinion on climate change? If people know they'll be around long enough to see the consequences, will they act different? Not for the wealthy. As long as they are wealthy, they will not experience the consequences of climate change. There will always be a place on Earth that is safe for them. Some mountaintop, some underground bunker. And you have to understand that power is relative. It was one of the things that I liked the most about, you guessed it, 1984. Do you remember the discourse on power towards the end of that book when O'Brien is talking about it? See, Winston is talking with O'Brien. Winston's being tortured and interrogated. Winston and O'Brien are talking, and Winston has questions. Winston wants to ask, if everything that is being done in this society is being done to exacerbate and extend the power of those who are already powerful, the party leadership, why would they choose to build a society where even they are kept under great scrutiny? See, in 1984, the party leadership don't live like kings or anything. They live relatively austere lives, constantly under the threat of supervision, murder, torture, or accusation themselves. Or, to put it another way, the world in 1984 is harsher for the wealthy and the powerful than the pre-revolution society. They actually made their lives worse. Why? And O'Brien explained, and I'm summarizing a bit here, that power is relative and that it is never measured in absolute terms. That it is not a matter of how much freedom, how much power the elite have. It is a matter of their relative power compared to the population. So even though an elite, a party official, in 1984 is subject to many concerns and many harsh expectations compared to what they might have been in the previous society, their power over the people below them is absolute. It is completely unmitigated. They may have less power, absolutely speaking, but relative to the people beneath them, they're gods. Does that make sense? The elites in 1984, the inner party members, would rather live austere lives of discomfort if it gave them absolute control over the people beneath them than live lives of luxury if it gave them moderate control of the people beneath them. That the difference has to be refined down to the subtlest point. Everyone suffers, but one group suffers the most. And unfortunately, that's how humans work. Oil, gas, and coal executives know they're destroying the planet. And they know, and they all know, all the wealthy people, they know this. They know that climate change will leave the planet in a state where they won't be as wealthy as they could have been otherwise. They will make more money. If climate change doesn't happen, the economic consequences of climate change will be devastating. Industry will be torn apart. Why would wealthy industry moguls want to promote the development of a climate disaster that will make them poorer than they could be otherwise. Because they'll be stronger and wealthier relative to you. They would rather be millionaires living on a floating raft while the rest of the world drowns than billionaires in a free democratic society. And I mean that sincerely. It's not about how much they have in total. It's about how much they have compared to you and everyone else. And they don't care if the, what would you call it, the sinking tide lowers all ships, as long as relative to the rest of us, they're in a privileged position. Which is why we're seeing all these space race dick measurement contests right now. I think it has more to do with humans being naturally terrible with long-term planning. Climate change isn't real to them. I think you'll find that if you look through human history, the wealthy and the powerful have always been more concerned with maintaining a degree of relative privilege over their surrounding population than they have been with the absolute level of comfort they enjoy. That they would rather maintain the distinction between themselves and the common folk than maximize the quality of their own lives. That power is always relative. It's always a dick measuring contest. And this is the case for everything. For climate change, they'll be the ones to survive. For COVID, they'll be the ones to survive. They have the ability to control their environment. They will always be the privileged ones. This really feels like doomer fuel. I think this is a fairly reasonable, if somewhat reductive reading of how people in power tend to maintain it in reference to those around them. Does that make sense? Do you think they're inherently evil or greedy for power, or is this the natural incentive of capitalism? It's not capitalism. It's just how power works. This is always how it goes. Wealthy people could not exist without poor people. It is the distinction that drives the contrast, you know? Even poor people today in America live privileged lives compared to what peasants would have lived 500 years ago. But the existence of poor people today is what gives material contrast to the life experiences of the wealthy. Is there any data to back this up? This is more of a general theory reading than it is... What data would you be looking for here? Surveys on billionaires' opinions on letting the world die? It's how hierarchy tends to work, I think. I suppose I wouldn't really know how to empirically measure these claims. It's just kind of an abstract reading, I think. But you understand what I'm getting at, right? That seems like a pretty bold empirical claim. Any data to back it up? This wouldn't happen nearly as much in socialism, right? It happens less the freer and more democratic a society is, but if you look at the ways in which... I'm trying to think if I can find a really good allegory for this. I'm trying to think. What's a really good way to... Okay. You know how wealthy people continue to accrue wealth beyond all sense? And the same with powerful people? Like, if you're a powerful person, whether you're a politician today or like a nobleman yesterday, you have everything you need. But still, people fought for more. Right? The wealthy today still fight to make more money. The powerful have always fought for more political power. Why have so many prince regents and noblemen and distant relatives of monarchs fought and died to become leader? In the ancient feudal wars of Japan, why did so many hundreds of feudal leaders send armies against one another in the futile hope that one of them would emerge the leader of Japan? They were all already wealthy. All of them. All of their material needs were taken care of. It really just seems like people in privileged positions always look for more. Not because it betters their own lives, necessarily, but because there seems to be some kind of innate human drive to keep climbing. That contentedness, that I'm okay with what I have, is not found commonly at that point. Maybe that's because of the types of people who become wealthy and powerful, or maybe it's just because wealth and power tend to do that to your mind. Maybe it's the Sigma grind set. I do not know. There are a lot of potential explanations for it, but one of the unfortunate consequences is that past a certain point, pragmatism is no longer one of the concerns that people take into account when they're making decisions based on their power and wealth. You want to be able to evaluate this rationally. Hey, super wealthy people, don't you want to prevent climate change? It will destroy everything, including you and your industry. You may live, but you will be poorer. You would stay wealthier if you could fight off climate change, really commit to it. But it doesn't happen. Like, why? Like, seriously, why? It doesn't make sense. If you're a multi-billionaire, Jeff Bezos is what, like 45? Like, he will live to see the industry that allows Amazon to be where it is crumble because of climate change. It'll be made worse. It'll be made more difficult. Oh, he's 55? Oh, he looks younger than I expected. 57, okay? He will see this happen. And so will his ancestors and so on. So why don't they do anything about it? I don't think a rational assessment of the cost-benefit analysis of this behavior means anything to them. It's about the stark and really disappointing reality that once you reach a certain point, the only drive you have in life is to maintain the distinctions that specialize you compared to the people around you. And those distinctions are exacerbated by great hardship. Plague exacerbates distinction. Economic crises exacerbate distinction. You can see this in data and in wealth distribution in America after the Great Depression and after 2008 and everything. Great crises exacerbate distinction. They don't level it out. They expand the differences. And that's what they want at the end of the day, consciously or unconsciously. Or at least they certainly don't seem to mind catastrophes since they know where it leads them. Distinction, even if it makes them poor absolute terms, relatively speaking. Okay, this rant has gone on for too long. Just ignore it. Just stop. Stop. Let me blow my nose, and then we're going to look at Jimmy Dore on Joe Rogan. Just shut up. Vosh makes my depression worse. You shouldn't be made depressed through understanding of the way these things work. Or at the very least, say, one reading of it. Watched the Dawn of War 3 trailer for the first time today. Wow, that was good. I haven't seen it. Never actually played a Dawn of War game. All right! Come here, Jimmy, Jimmy. Jimmy, Jimmy. Jimmy, Jimmy. Wait, does JRE Clips not function anymore? Last upload 8 months ago. It's just on Powerful JRE? Okay. Okay, Powerful JRE is now working at the Clip channel because the main stuff is on Spotify. That makes sense. Come here, Jimmy Dore. I feel like we've been talking too much about Jimmy Dore lately, but I can't ignore a Joe Rogan appearance. We're gonna get on you one day, Jimmy. Wait, not Jimmy. Dore. Wait. Joey. Joey. Gonna get on you.
The Joe Rogan experience.
So what about, can we talk about ivermectin?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I covered it, what they did in Mexico City, and ivermectin seems to be a drug that not only treats it, but it will prevent you from getting it.
I think we need studies. We need legitimate studies, and I don't know how that happens because the problem with this argument, this conversation is you know, you'll have people saying, I've used this on my patients, like Dr. Pierre Corey, who's been on this podcast. And I 100% believe him and I support him. And I'm not saying that he's not telling the truth. The problem is, I think in order to state something emphatically, like this is what we need to do, this is the best treatment, we need studies. Right? This is the only way you find out. And, well, who's going to fund these studies?
Who's going to fund a study?
And the problem is it's a generic drug.
That's it. No one wants it.
It's a drug that's been around for 40 years, has a long history of use. And also, there's a difference between using it as a prophylactic, so using it as a preventative measure, which is one of the things that Dr. Pierre Corey talked about on this podcast. I forget where they used this, but it was there was hundreds of doctors, and then there was a percentage of them that used ivermectin as a prophylactic, and there's a
large ivermectin study retracted. Preprint publisher finds evidence of plagiarism problems with raw data. This is from 8 days ago. A large Egyptian study of ivermectin for COVID-19 patients has been retracted over concerns of plagiarism and serious concerns with their raw data. One of the most frustrating things with right-wing conspiracies about medical issues is that you see a really common cycle. The cycle is right-wing politicians will start to fearmonger over something, and then hack doctors will start pushing out really, really, really bad research in order to post hoc justify the claims of the politicians. And then after like 5 days, the medical research gets retracted because it's terrible, and then the politicians complain about censorship because the research was retracted. This happens all the time with trans stuff. It's like, they retracted this study, and it's like, yeah, because the study was dog shit. Like, it was bad. It was bad research. That's why they retracted it. And they only put that research out because they were trying to give you something to talk about, you know?
percentage that did not. The percentage that did not, half of the doctors, roughly, or half of the healthcare workers got COVID. The percentage that did use it as a prophylactic, 100% did not get it. Now, I don't know if they got lucky. This is why you need a large study, and it's a long-term study. Maybe, I don't know, what was their job different than the people who got it? I don't know. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So when I'm a fucking comedian and a cage fighting commentator. When I'm talking about very important issues, I have to hedge.
Yes, with Jimmy Dore here. We have two people with absolutely no medical expertise on one of the largest podcasts in the world talking about COVID-19 medication.
My opinions on these things.
I know.
It's tricky.
But in an environment where people aren't allowed to talk or question things, you know.
Okay, so this is something Jimmy Dore has been saying lately, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys, okay? I have never seen a person complain about the long-term side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine without them opening their statement with, "I'm not allowed to talk about this," but like every time they're trying to silence this, but like every single time it's some grandstanding virtue signal where they're trying to talk like there's some kind of brave free speech warrior. You can talk about the COVID-19 vaccine symptoms and side effects all you want, my dude. You just can't lie about it. That's what people get mad about. And also, what people get mad about is the implications, okay? So, as far as we can tell, and by that I mean there's overwhelming 100% evidence of this, COVID-19 is far, far worse than the side effects of the COVID-19 vaccination. COVID-19 is far more severe, far deadlier, and by an overwhelming amount. Far more likely for there to be negative symptoms than the COVID-19 vaccination. You'd much rather get the vaccination than COVID-19. So if you were to say, I unfortunately have been having negative side effects from the COVID-19 vaccination, and while I still think everyone should get their shot, like this is something you should be aware of, that's fine, okay? The problem is that people like Jimmy Dore have been acting like free speech warriors who are getting censored by the establishment for making statements about the COVID-19 vaccination, which leave open the interpretation that you shouldn't get vaccinated at all, which is a highly irresponsible point to make, you know? Like, if you're like, yeah, COVID-19 vaccination has side effects too, that they're not letting you speak about, like the implication from that is that you shouldn't get vaccinated, which is an irresponsible message. That's what people get mad about. It's not that you can't talk about this. You just have to be responsible.
Well, for instance, my doctor. So when I got the vaccine, I got the double. And
which one did you get?
I got the Moderna because I have an underlying health problem. I don't want, and I've talked about it before on the show.
We have talked about it, yeah.
And so my doctor, because people are like, why did you trust the government? I don't trust the government. You trust Big Pharma? No, I don't trust Big Pharma. I trusted my doctor.
Right.
My doctor who saved my life and said that because of your thing, you should get it because we don't know how it's going to affect you and you blah, 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 blah. So
Wait, hold on. Couple of points here. When it comes to big contagion pandemic stuff like this, why wouldn't you trust the government? Isn't it in the government's best interest to get rid of the pandemic? Like, is there a reason not to? I mean, like, is there any reason why the CDC's word on this, like, shouldn't be listened to? I get it. You're so cool and, like, anti-authoritarian. You're so distrustful of the government. You're so based in red pill, my dude. But, like, it's the job of the CDC to prevent stuff like this from happening. Is this, like, a microchips thing? Like, you don't trust the government to not put microchips in their tiny little vaccination needles? What are we going on about here? What alternative hypothesis? Or do you think they, like, rushed it out? In which case it's a question about, like, mRNA testing, which is a complicated whole new way of developing vaccines. But, I mean, it passed the guidelines for its production.
got it. And then, the symptoms you get from it, they never went away for me.
What were your symptoms?
So I had body aches, flu-like fever. I had joint pain.
Pissing,
I had a stiff
farting.
neck.
Have you tried going in an ice bath for 20 minutes? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long did it?
Yeah, I'm still cold. I'm
just warming up now. It's fucking 2 hours in this podcast.
I can tell.
Is how long did it last? How long did your symptoms last?
So on April 17th, I got the second jab, and I just never got better.
Was it immediate? Before after the first jab, did you have side effects?
Yeah.
Vosh, nanotech currently is literally impossible. Why the fuck do you even get chips inside your bloodstream without white blood cells destroying them? Okay, the thing is, why are people so stupid with their conspiracy theories? Like, Edward Snowden already leaked a ton of stuff about how our data is being stolen and tracked by the government. Why don't you focus on real shit like that instead of fake made up shit like, yeah, the government secretly developed some hyper sophisticated technology that they somehow secretly put in millions of vaccine doses around the country that nobody noticed, and nobody has managed to find the vaccine chip anywhere in the bloodstream afterwards, in spite of no doubt many people trying, I promise you. And they were all doing this as part of some secret plot to control you and find out where you are, except you can already do that. Also, there's no way that you could have a tracking chip that's small. We already know how small tracking chips can get. You know why? We put them in our pets. And trust me, they're not going to fit in the fucking vaccine needles that they use for COVID-19. So, or are you saying there's like a secret government facility where they manufactured literally billions of high-tech nano trackers that have infinite battery life in spite of them being small enough to fit in an unbelievably small needle, and they're doing this to track your movement when everyone has a smartphone anyway? It's like, this is so stupid. Like, the government invented alien tech? Well, if they have that kind of technology, why don't they just use fucking DNA scanners from orbit or something? Like, if we're making up technology, then why don't they just have, like, a micro universe and like a little fucking chamber that they observe to watch everyone move like pieces on a chessboard? Like, if we're making stuff up, then we can do a little bit better than they managed to somehow sneak billions of tiny high-tech sci-fi microchips into a decentralized vaccination network. Did nobody notice this? Has nobody thought to like scan the contents of a vaccine? How exactly do they manage to get one nanochip in per vaccine shot? Do they instruct all of the thousands of people around the country who are administering these shots how exactly to make sure there's only one cell? Are there multiple cells per person? How has nobody found these things? It's like, it's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, but they went away. And then the second jab.
How long did they last after the first shot?
I don't remember, but because
a couple days.
Yeah, it was like maybe a week. I think a week. And then the second time, they just never went away. And I was like, what is going on? Because I would get these waves of exhaustion. a couple times a day. And then my producer had the same stiff after at the 5th week. I had a stiff neck. He got a stiff neck, and my wife got a stiff neck, and we all got the stiff neck on the side where we got the shot. So I got it on this side. They got it on that side. And then I looked it up, and it turns out stiff neck is a thing that people experience from the jab. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. They don't tell you that. And so that's common. I'm like, okay. And then it spread to the whole.
Yeah, they do. Why would you lie about that? I think, does muscle pain count? Maybe they don't specifically say stiff neck, but I was told that the COVID-19 vaccine does potentially have side effects, yeah. Even from the beginning, weren't they saying that the COVID-19 vaccine has the potential for, like, long-term side effects, but, like, much more, very diminished compared to COVID-19, you know? Like, I think I remember that. Like, right when the vaccines were being developed, it was like, there is a potential that this will cause long-term side effects. I think I remember that, you know? I don't remember anyone using the term stiff neck specifically, but...
Whole neck. Okay. Now, my producer and my wife, it went away. Their stiff necks went away. Mine didn't. So anyway, I tweeted about it. I tweeted like, hey, this is just to let everybody know, this is what's happened. This is my reaction to the vaccine.
Yeah.
And because when people started to come on me, like call me anti-vax, and
Right.
I'm like, no, I got the vax.
Right.
I got it. I go, when people...
Wait, hold on. You can be... First of all, everyone in media has gotten the vaccine, including Joe Rogan and everyone at Fox News, because they know that it's a serious problem, even if they'll lie to other people. So you getting the vax doesn't mean that you can't be... Let me see if I can... Is this the tweet he's referring to? Yeah, I think I remember this. Update. Got my second Moderna shot, 4/17. Haven't had body and joint pain, general flu-like symptoms ever since. Most recently experiencing wicked stiff neck on the same side of the shot. This over a month now. So the problem with this, and to be charitable here, I don't think this necessarily indicates intentional grifting or whatever. I don't actually believe that. But like, when you're in an environment where there are people all over media constantly trying to fearmonger about the vaccine, and it's really essential that people get the vaccine, it probably would have done good to have a follow-up tweet saying, you know, you should get the vaccine. There is a small chance of side effects, but like, it's still very important we beat this virus or something. You know? Like, I think that would have fixed it right there, right? I mean, because this just comes off like it could be an implicit suggestion to not get the vaccine. Yeah, I don't know.
People have a reaction to an experimental vaccine that is not FDA approved. You're supposed to not suppress the reactions. You're supposed to...
They're not suppressing the reactions. Also, experimental vaccine that is not FDA approved is a pretty fear-mongering way of responding to this. So the mRNA process is new, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the vaccine is experimental. It's very effective, and it was well tested. mRNA vaccine development is just faster than traditional methods of developing vaccines. The reason why it hasn't been subject to the same FDA approval is because they had to bypass those restrictions to get it out quickly, which is, by the way, something that Trump pushed for. Yeah, it's been approved for FDA emergency use. FDA approval takes a longer time, but Trump is the one who pushed past that. It was one of the few good things that he did. Here's a page on it. Emergency use is basically, we haven't, like, done a 25-year trial test on this, but we need to do it, like, right now. See, development, emergency use authorization, and FDA approval. FDA approval requires testing and then approval, whereas the FDA emergency use authorization gets large amounts of production alongside testing and then approval for emergency use authorization. It's basically just like an expedited process for pushing this out, you know? Yeah, mRNA technology has been developed for a long time, but it seems like a really cool thing, you know? Keep in mind, vaccines used to take like 5 years to make, right? We got this one out in a year. Isn't that cool? Can you imagine if we weren't able to get a COVID vaccine out within like 5 years?
Ask people what their reactions are so we can make the vaccines better.
That's a thing that when Jen Psaki's talking about misinformation online and combating misinformation, she distributed misinformation.
Of course.
Because she said that it's approved by the FDA and their gold standard.
She said that?
She said that.
It is not approved. When you go to get the
You
vaccine,
can pull that up. Let's make sure that she said it. I'm 99% positive she said that, because I remember reading that going, you can't say that when you're the White House press secretary, because that's not a true statement. It's approved for emergency use authorization.
Okay.
Because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
That's
we're in an emergency.
yes.
Well,
But
that is approval by the FDA. It's an expedited process, but that is approval by the FDA. I can't speak to the specific language that she used, but
not an FDA approved.
Joe, when you go get this jab, they give you a piece of paper.
wait,
and
what's the name of the press secretary again? I just want to. Are they like just completely lying about this? Psaki, yeah, Psaki. Vaccine FDA approved. Let's see if we can find anything. They said gold star approval, right? They're going to show it? Okay.
on it in bold black letters, it says, this is not an FDA-approved vaccine.
Right.
And they go, you see that? And I'm like, yeah. They go, you okay with that? Yeah, I guess. My doctor said I'm supposed to be here. And
Did you find it?
Yeah, I found the transcript of it. I didn't find the video.
Well,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw the video, but I definitely have read the transcript, and I want this to be accurate because it's a big accusation.
This is what she said here when someone asked about the misinformation.
What is this from?
Right.
Whitehouse.gov.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a reputable
so
source.
you know more than
on
just competition
the
about
press
vaccines, the
secretary.
risk, impact.
Hold on. Let me read this. Okay, hold on. Just so you know, there is more than just competition about vaccines. The risk and impact that there is this type of information magnifies, the risk of potential side effects associated with Western vaccines. That is what the information, some of this misinformation is doing, and misleads the public by falsely alleging the mRNA vaccines are untested and thus risky, even though many of them are approved and have gone through the gold standard of the FDA approval process. Okay. So the gold standard of the FDA approval process. I will admit the language there could potentially be a little misleading. I mean, emergency use approval and regular approval are kind of semantically close in this case. I think she could have been more clear with her language. I think the press secretary should be held to a high standard. I don't see what this has to do with the broader point, though, Wait, hold on. Oh, the quartering is watching this stream. Vasha said even though Jimmy Dore got the vaccine, he's still anti-vax. Ha 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 ha, big brain. The quartering, I know that you like making fun of you is literally ableism. But just so you know, I said that a person can still be anti-vax despite getting the vaccine. Everyone who's anti-vax in big media has gotten the vaccine. Because they're liars. I don't necessarily know if Jimmy Dore is anti-vax. I think he's irresponsible with his language. But that's pretty much the extent of what I've said. Chat, can you back me up on that? I didn't misspeak, did I? I did say it wasn't that he's anti-vax, it's that his language can be construed as anti-vax, and also that getting the vaccine and being anti-vax are not mutually exclusive. Confirmed? No, I did not? All right, cool. Nice. Good to know. I'm not wasting any time or thought in this dumbass.
Okay, here it is. Misleads the public by falsely alleging that mRNA vaccines are untested and thus risky, even though many of them are approved and have gone through the gold standard of the FDA approval process. That's right. That's not true.
So she's saying many of the mRNA vaccines.
Right. There's only two that are mRNA vaccines. It's messenger RNA. That is the Pfizer and the Moderna. That's the ones that we use in America. The Johnson & Johnson is it's an adenovirus vaccine. It's different, as is the AstraZeneca, right? The AstraZeneca, I believe, is very similar to the Johnson & Johnson. They're different. But the point is,
Yeah, the Johnson & Johnson uses the old technology and
Wait, yeah, is she talking about mRNA vaccines in general? Misleads the public by falsely alleging that mRNA vaccines are untested and thus risky, even though many of them are approved. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. This is a semantic where I didn't even recognize this. This, she's not talking just about specifically these two. How many mRNA vaccines have gotten full FDA approval? How many mRNA vaccines have gotten FDA approval? If it's about mRNA vaccines generally, then her statement is completely correct. Because there are mRNA vaccines that have gotten... Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find a list of previous mRNA vaccines that have passed FDA approval. Let me see. Is there a list of like FDA approved vaccines? How many of those would there be? Vaccines licensed for use in the United States. Well, there's a decent amount. A lot of them are variants on the same basic thing. Doesn't say whether or not they're mRNA. I'm pretty sure no mRNA vaccines have ever gotten full approval. Is that true? It's actually kind of important that we figure that out, because that's... If she's correct in that statement, then this goes from, like, kind of irresponsible to just being an unimpeachably correct statement. No other mRNA vaccine has received full approval to date. Ah, is that true? Uh-oh. Looks like we're going back to the irresponsible bid. Moderna and Pfizer would be the first mRNA vaccines to receive emergency use authorization. No other mRNA vaccine has received FDA approval to date. Okay. Okay, then I would say... Okay. Unless there's some edge case here that I'm not aware of, then I would say her statement is pretty irresponsible. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Again, this is the thing. This is one of the things that I love about not being like a super crazy partisan hack like Charlie Kirk or whatever. It's that if somebody on the Democratic Party does something wrong, it's so easy for me to say that they did wrong. Like, it's so easy, you know? It's effortless. Unless there's some edge case here, like some mRNA vaccine that's previously achieved a full FDA approval. Whatever. Yeah. It could be she's saying that the process of mRNA vaccine development itself has received a gold standard by the FDA, but not any specific vaccine. There are a lot of ways to interpret the statement. Let's just move forward. I think we've analyzed this a bit too much.
There's the ones that we use in America. The Johnson & Johnson is it's an adenovirus vaccine. It's different, as is the AstraZeneca, right? The AstraZeneca, I believe, is very similar to the Johnson & Johnson. They're different. But the point is...
Yeah, the Johnson & Johnson uses the old technology, and Moderna and Pfizer, they use those ones that was developed by DARPA.
Yeah, but the point is, it's like, it's not FDA approved.
No, because that takes a while.
So if she's saying that... Right. This is...
Isn't that misinformation?
It is.
Seems like it.
And if it says it when you get the jab, and it says it in bold print, and so your experience, even though this is your personal experience and you did get vaccinated, people...
Oh my God. Dude, I'm sorry. This is just so indicative of like the standard of truth-telling in right-wing communities. After the quartering treats, within like 2 seconds, this guy made a meme. Jimmy Dore still has stiff neck from taking his second vaccine dose. Jimmy Dore's an anti-vaxxer. Wait until I tell my socialist buddies about this. And it's so weird because you can see in real time how like they don't care about anything, like whether or not it's true. Like they don't actually care like any standard whatsoever that their jokes align with reality. They just take it and they run with it. It's not even a nuance point. It's that I literally didn't say the thing, you know? It's not even nuance. Nuance would be if I said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vaxxer, but because of some like specific quirk of how he said a thing, not just because of him reporting the effects of his second vaccine dose. This is just them being factually incorrect, you know? Confidently enough to make bad memes about it, too. All right.
Are so rabid online about
Oh my
this.
God.
It is the most divisive subject, I think, ever since Trump. It really is. It is a nutty, divisive subject. And people just get
why is
furious
that?
about it. And they're furious if anybody talks about any negative side effects, even if it's
Nah, this is horseshit, Joe. And the whole reason this vaccine thing is a politically divided crisis is because of the Republican Party. The antagonism is not being spawned by people angry about other people reporting vaccine side effects. Okay? That is not what is causing this.
accurate.
I know. So I had tweeted about it just because I wanted to see if other people had this experience.
Right.
And, you know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not. So I got contacted by lots of people. Same experience, and I got contacted by a doctor who's leading a bunch of other doctors, a group of doctors, and studying this, and they just submitted a paper on people about the vaccine, right? And so he tells me over a DM.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but at least with my friends and stuff, everyone bitched about the side effects. Like, I knew people who had really severe side effects from the vaccine. They talked about it all the time on social media and in person. They were bitching about it nonstop. Oh, I got the vaccination. Holy shit, I can't move my body. I feel so sick, blah, blah. Everyone felt comfortable talking about it because they talked about it in a way that didn't imply they would have rather not gotten the vaccine. The problem isn't people complaining about the vaccine side effects. I want that stuff to be more well-researched. The problem is people, like, kind of implicitly furthering the narrative that you shouldn't get the vaccine when you should.
This is what we think is happening. This is a spike protein. You're suffering from a spike protein thing and blah, blah, blah. And go to see your doctor, and hopefully your doctor will work with us and give me ivermectin and fluvoxamine I'm taking for inflammation in my brain.
You have inflammation in your brain?
Well, that's because it causes inflammation.
We
so
knew
the
that.
spike proteins cause inflammation. And so they did some kind of blood test on me, and they said, yeah, you got the thing.
Was it a D-dimer test? Is that what it was?
Joe, you got me. But
Okay.
they said, you have the same, you're right where a long haul COVID person is. Like whatever the markers were, I had the same thing. You're right there. And so I go to my doctor, and I start to explain to my doctor about what this other doctor told me. And my doctor says, oh, I'm treating 5 people just like you. And one of them is a neurosurgeon, and one of them is a nurse. And they were afraid to talk about their symptoms because...
So, again, like, I can't take this seriously because this is how every single conspiracy theory spreads. Every single one of them. Yeah, despite the overwhelming data on this subject, I talked to some people, and they were all, like, doctors, you know? And behind the scenes, they weren't afraid to admit the truth, which is that the vaccines are really bad. But in public, they're afraid to say it. But in private, they said it to me, you know? A doctor's literally not allowed to say this shit by HIPAA. He's lying. No, it's just, I mean, HIPAA violations do happen. But the point that I'm getting at here is just like, if you want to talk about like the relative danger of the vaccine, you have to look at the data, okay? How many people in America have gotten vaccinated? Let me find out, okay? USA vaccinations, like how many people in total? 161 million. Good numbers, okay? And how many COVID cases in America? In total. About 35 million. So, despite the number of vaccinations being about 5 times the number of COVID cases have over 500,000 deaths attached to them, whereas vaccines, as far as we can tell, have none. So we're talking about if the degree to which the vaccine is less potentially harmful than COVID is almost immeasurable. If there are side effects to the vaccine, we should talk about it, but we shouldn't posture and pretend as though we are being faced with 2 comparably dangerous options, because that is just not the case. You have to consider there are lots of undetected COVID cases, which are undetected because they're very mild. I mean, I guess you could say that about any medical data, but you would have to distort the numbers immeasurably past the population of the United States, past the population of the world, to get these deaths even within a few, like, exponential values of each other, you know? It's over 500,000 deaths to COVID. How many people have died of the vaccine?
Because they were afraid to be ostracized and stigmatized. And I'm like, what a messed up
strange.
situation we're in this culture,
Right.
when they politicize medicine, where doctors and medical professionals are afraid to talk about their symptoms.
Damn. Oh, look at the fake outrage. Look at, politicizing medicine. I wonder who did that. I wonder who did that, you know? I can't take anyone making this claim seriously unless they are willing to point out that this is a highly partisan development.
That's horrible.
It's
I mean,
also putting people in a position where big pharma is the good guy now.
yeah.
Which has never happened before.
Never.
And especially the exact same companies that people were openly criticizing in the past and pointing out lawsuits that they've lost for hiding information about test results, about things that have happened during studies. And these same people are now ignoring any possible side effects.
Nobody's ignoring. The side effects are listed on the CDC's website. Also, okay, this point is incredibly low IQ for a few reasons. First of all, the argument that this is making Big Pharma out to be the heroes when they're normally a bad guy is only a problem if you have the brain of a person who exclusively watches Marvel movies, okay? Wow, Big Pharma's normally a bad institution, but they also produce drugs which are good. Do you have this crisis every time you get aspirin? Like, every time you go to a store and you buy aspirin and you're like, the pharma industry is bad, but I have a headache. The moral conundrum is driving me insane. What are you talking about? You can have pharma can be a bad institution politically, but also produce drugs and vaccines which are good. This is not difficult. Second of all, if you don't want to thank the government, then why don't you if you don't want to thank Big Pharma, why not thank the government researchers who worked tirelessly for years to produce mRNA vaccine types? The mRNA process was produced through public funding. If you want to celebrate anyone, why not celebrate the public workers who tirelessly built the new model of vaccines? That's good, right? That's a cool thing that you could do. Like, what is this conundrum? What is this?
It's nuts. So, I mean, how do we make it better? How do we know maybe some people, I mean, that suppression of data is not the way you improve a vaccine.
What suppression of data? Do you notice how they haven't even made any claims about the suppression of data? They've just jumped to assuming that it's true. What suppression of data are you referring to? What? Where? What are you referring to? I knew some doctors and they said they were scared to speak out. What are you... Where? Like, you're making a conspiratorial claim. Who's suppressing the data? The Democratic Party? The CDC? Joe Biden? This is a highly conspiratorial claim, and it's being made like you haven't supported this with any premises.
Vaccine. The suppression of people's symptoms and data, that is not, and in anything, it's not how it works.
Where?
That's how they want it to work because of Trump. Because if you say, it's just...
Yeah, that's right. They're suppressing the data because they hate Trump. So he hates the politicization of the vaccine, but that's not the Republican Party's fault. But actually, the problem here is that Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome, you know?
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Even that hydrochloroquine, right? That, remember?
Hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine that Trump was touting, and they were like, he's nuts because he's touting it. I didn't know anything about it. But then all of a sudden studies came out that say, hey, no, that actually has been helping. So now we have contradicting studies.
Isn't this literally not true? Like, wasn't there a big study, there was a big French study that ended up saying that, like, this is neutral to bad for hydroxychloroquine? It was a big French study, right? Also, if hydroxychloroquine is so good, why didn't Trump take it? Why did he not take that? Really makes you wonder. This is literally, like, again, like, this is just the same old conspiracy bullshit, you know? They literally had to stop that study because it was killing people. Oh, that's right. There was a study on hydroxychloroquine they had to stop because it was killing the patients. The only reason that Jimmy Dore is backing hydroxychloroquine here is because he hates the Democratic Party. That's literally it, by the way. The only reason he's saying this is because it contributes to a narrative of the Democrats all being hysterically opposed to Trump no matter what. He doesn't actually care. He hasn't looked into any of the data or research. It's like, didn't recently on Jimmy Dore's show he say that new evidence has come out that AOC owned the bar that she worked for, which is like provably untrue, but he just said it because it made her sound like some like preppy bougie girl and not like a hardworking like waitress or whatever. They just like say it, just whatever, just can say whatever, you know? Can throw at any point they want. Here's from the National Institute of Health. Hydroxychloroquine does not benefit adults hospitalized with COVID-19. At day 14, those who received hydroxychloroquine and those who received a placebo had a similar health status, with most participants in the group discharged from the hospital and able to perform a range of activities. The number of participants in both treatment groups who died at day 14 were similar. At day 28, 25 of the 241 patients in the hydroxychloroquine group and 25 of 236 patients in the placebo group had died. They found that hydroxychloroquine is not effective for the treatment of COVID-19, and it was consistent across patient subgroups and for all evaluated outcomes.
Right? It was a Newsweek. I wasn't making it. I didn't pull it out of some crazy thing. It's establishment mainstream news thing. I'm pretty sure it was Newsweek. And
Newsweek? I mean, if you want like good information on medical stuff, you should probably go to the actual study or to medical journals on the study and not onto news people reporting on the study, because news people reporting on the study will sensationalize anything and everything they can. Like, they'll do whatever, you know? Here's the latest episode from Sam Harris's podcast, Not Cringe for Once, with an expert that debunks a lot of the anti-vax talking points. Oh, that's nice. Gotta get in there every once in a while, you know?
I tweeted it out and I said, hey, can we stop? Now, can we stop politicizing medical science? Can we get back to just doing medical science again and asking questions?
Again, the audacity of complaining about the politicization of medical science and only calling out the Democrats is insane to me. That is unbelievable to me.
How much did Trump do on the one conversation he had? Do something like cleaning, something with you.
So much damage.
You do
put
like bleach
right in the. It's so
light.
much damage.
You could kill it with light. It's going to be a miracle. Like that one thing where people are like, what the fuck is? Because he was riffing.
Yes,
he was clearly
He's
riffing.
Clearly riffing.
He didn't prepare for this. He probably just got done eating a fucking double cheeseburger, and he's like.
Yeah, and then the entire Republican Party continued to push for hydroxychloroquine, even though none of them used it and none of them actually cared. They only did it just because Trump said it. Like, that's it. The only reason Republicans kept defending hydroxychloroquine is because Trump said it one time, like, offhandedly, and people they just need to, like, defend anything and everything he does because they're incapable of criticizing their president, you know? But they were wrong. Like, hydroxychloroquine doesn't help with COVID. That's why people don't take it. That's why Trump didn't take it, you know?
Because
he's a salesman. He's just a big.
But because he's so divisive, like everyone is still.
No, he was just wrong.
It's almost like, do you know, like if you got in a.
Yeah, notice how earlier they were criticizing Biden's press secretary for spreading misinformation, but now they're like laughing about how Trump is just like, dude, whatever. He was just the president. He just like offhandedly said it. The libs got so triggered by it, dude. Whatever. I fucking hate these people.
fight with someone,
He likes
like
to
maybe your
riff. He's
neighbor,
just a
and then you got in your
salesman.
car and there was a road incident, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. You're already so ramped up
Yeah.
because of the fight you got in with your neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what the whole country's like.
That's a great analogy.
That's what it's like. It's like the whole country just got in a fight with the neighbor. Like he's putting his trash can on your lawn.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you fuck. Keep him on your own side, you piece of shit. And then you're in your car. Fuck! And this is like the whole country is like at 8. Out the door. Out the door.
This is like the apex of mediocre political commentary, with people who generally side with right-wing perspectives complaining that everyone's so angry these days, defending misinformation from the right, but condemning misinformation from the left. And the misinformation from the left was like misspeaking about the type of approval from the FDA on the mRNA process. And the misinformation here is the president just randomly recommending desperate people during a pandemic an ineffective treatment that can be dangerous. Like, but they don't care about that one, you know? Explain why Jimmy Dore is such an aggressive Trump defender? Because he's on the right. That's it. Jimmy Dore is an RT shill, okay? Just like all the other types on that side. And by shill, I mean like he pushes their talking points. I don't know if he's paid by anyone, but like he's in the RT block, okay? His exclusive goal is to be on the left and to push people to the right, which he will do by, hey, by the way, you ever wonder why Jimmy Dore types are always saying, like, we need Medicare for all. Let's protest against AOC. Is that really the person that you need to be protesting against right now? Not moderate Dems, not centrists, not Republicans. AOC, literally the most likely people to push for Medicare for all. That's the group that you're going to select as the wall you're going to line on. Jimmy Dore never talks about how Republicans don't support M4A. That's correct. He doesn't criticize Republicans. He just doesn't do it. And he'll attack Democrats every chance that he gets. His goal is to take disaffected, angry, nihilistic, left-leaning people and to make them think that the obstacle to real, like, progress is all the people who are actually affecting it, or at least trying to, and to get them to ignore all the problems with, like, the right, you know? There's a reason why recently Jimmy Dore did a segment defending critical race theory and his dislikes were like 50-50, you know? Seriously, it's really funny. Let me see if I can find it really quick. It speaks to his audience, okay? The only people who are on this, like, critical race theory hysteria bent, you know? The only people that are on that like, crazy, oh my God, it's destroying our kids. It's like Republicans, you know? Those are the people, they're people on the right. Those are the people who are freaking out about this. But Jimmy Dore, like, doesn't share their hysteria about it, and 50-50 like dislike. This isn't like a group of disaffected progressive lefties who are upset with the Democratic Party. It's just conservatives. That's the big lie that he tries to push, that his audience is like a group of like, ah, yeah, you know, we're like holding the Democrats to account. No, you're not. You're just Republicans. Wait, this is in the comments. Is it? Wait. There it is. TYT level analysis there, Jimmy. Sorry you're off in this topic. That whole line, CRT is just a legal theory, is similar fiction of Antifa is just an idea. Oh, so the comment section's anti-Antifa as well. Crazy. Here's the cope. Every once in a while, Jimmy Dore makes a video that's a total flop with people on the left and the right. This is clearly one of those videos. The like to dislike ratio proves it. Dog, left-leaning people aren't disliking this video. It's right-leaning people. Yeah, both the left and the right are mad at this. You can tell. It's the right. Jimmy, fear more about, like, the K through 12 thing. All the bad guys in slavery were white. Even if discussing America's history of slavery, that statement is still factually incorrect. 99% of them were white. True. Are you seriously endorsing CRT, or is this a parody? Serious question. Like, this is a miss. Like, the whole thing. Never thought I'd see Jimmy Dore taking points from Joy Ann Reid. For a group of disaffected left-leaning people, these guys sure do seem to really, really, really hate anti-racism. All right.
In their car already at 8 and a scale 1 to 10. They're already ready to go. And so whether it's the vaccine or whether it's the border wall or whether it's kids in cages or what the fuck, whatever it is, everybody's so goddamn angry. And
I wonder why people would be angry about the border wall and the pandemic and kids in cages.
ready to go. And then you deal with the economic crisis that a giant percentage of the country just went through over the past year, and then losing loved ones to this fucking disease and all this chaos and and so many people who have never experienced like high levels of adversity, and all of a sudden they're confronted with it. If you've played it safe your whole life, you've really never done anything risky, never taken any chances, you've had a regular life with a regular job, you play it safe, and then all of a sudden now you're fucked and you're confronted with a perhaps deadly disease that might take you out, and you got all these other problems in the world, and everybody's like, and they don't have the coping skills. They don't have the ability to handle these things, and that's
Who's the they? Keep in mind that Joe Rogan postured super hard about people overreacting about COVID-19, but he personally was extremely paranoid about COVID-19, getting his office like alcohol wiped and sprayed down and having everyone super like vetted, you know? He was really, really paranoid about this stuff, even though he fronted that he wasn't. What are we talking, like, unable to handle it? What do you mean? What are we talking about? People don't like anti-vaxxers? What position are we talking about? Which group of people are angry?
where we find ourselves as a country right now. And it's weird because then you have that with the echo chamber aspect of social media, where everybody's just looking for positive reinforcement of their own ideas and confirmation bias. It's wild. Catch new episodes.
Nice. Absolutely nothing of use or merit was produced there. Nice. I still don't know if Jimmy Dore is an anti-vaxxer. I feel like I don't think Jimmy Dore is a particularly how would you put it? Honest or ethical person. I have the feeling that it's not a coincidence, by the way, that the quartering came out in Jimmy Dore's defense watching my stream. Damn shitlib Jimmy. What is this?
Me for going to work for the KKK, but why do we forgive money? Now, my question is, you wouldn't forgive me for going to work for the KKK, but why do we forgive people for going to work for Fox News? Because that is the most that is like not okay. That is so over the top, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no disqualification from polite society anymore. Steve Doocy and the other person with him, well, no one's going to go, hey, that racist shit I saw, because they do it every day, and now they're just accepted in mainstream culture, and people work at Fox News and then go work at normal places. And I think that we have to stop that. That's not okay that you can start your career at Fox News or go there in the middle or end up at the end and then go to CBS or go somewhere else. That's not okay. And I think we should shame people who need to make money from racist organizations like Fox News. Money. Now, my question is, you wouldn't forgive me for going to work for the KKK.
And then he's like, on Tucker Carlson. Now, technically, he's not working for Fox News, but he's certainly guest on there a lot. Was this Jimmy before the money? I don't think Jimmy believes what he's saying here any more than what he believes what he's saying now. Anyway, I don't know if, like, Jimmy Dore is an anti-vaxxer. I just think he recognizes that he can, like, kowtow to the anti-vaxxers in his audience pretty effectively and make a lot of money and get a lot of attention for that. You know what I mean? And that'll settle him just fine. The actual news segment of Fox News is not disqualifying it. No, it's the punditry that's mostly the problem. The news section of Fox News is more defensible, but yeah. And of course he goes on to speak with the pundits, you know, he doesn't go on to the news segments. It's none of it's good. It's not good. It's not good. It's altogether bad. Anyway, yeah. Just basically what you'd expect from a pairing between the two brilliant minds of Joe Rogan and Jimmy Dore. A lot of vague conspiracy meddling, you know? A lot of really indefensible statements that they don't need to defend because they just say them and then move on. Basically what you'd expect. They keep eliminating news hours in favor of more opinion show programming. Well, that would make sense, you know? Considering the fact that nobody cares about, like, their highest ratings are always going to be their crazy fucking Tucker Carlson segments or whatever. Isn't that why Tucker Carlson has his new thing now where he's like LARPing as a wood shopper or whatever? You know? You know what I mean, right? Where he's in like plaid. Yeah, that's his morning show. Yeah, I know that my good morning vibes. Oh, the quartering, since you're probably still watching, if you want to like hop on at any point, You're totally free to. You're one of the biggest pussies in the right-wing media sphere. So I don't expect it, but like you, just so you guys know, this was the guy who said that he would debate Lance if he could raise like thousands of dollars to charity, and then Lance did it, and the quartering still backed out. He's admitted, I think, in a conversation of Destiny that he doesn't actually believe in the stuff he says. He just like says it for his channel. So I don't think he like cares that much. Fairly disinterested engagement with the content of his own channel. Hold on, did I get a text? Let me see. Got that. Nice. Okay. Yeah. I think he has no clue about pop culture. Dude, none of them do. The quartering and no bullshit and people like that are completely fucking ignorant of the culture that they talk about. All they do is they find media that's like woke, by which I mean it has like a non-white person, or there's like a woman with some kind of central role. They read a couple of Twitter threads about people bitching about it, and then they go ahead and make their video. There's no thematic analysis in any of these videos. They're the shallowest and worst fans of the property. And most of the people who get mad watching, by the way, are also like them. They don't actually follow the media. They're not actually upset because it doesn't adhere to the standards of quality they expected. It's just, you know? Have you covered the Frito-Lay worker strike and the PepsiCo boycott? I probably should, at least the Frito-Lay thing. Hold that thought 1 second. There was something I wanted to look up. What was it? Kind of curious what the quartering is up to these days. Hold on. The quartering. Just want to see. Steven Crowder hospitalized and Twitter celebrates it. These people are vile. Yeah, that's about what I'd expect. Let's see. Going past that. Ah, dude. This is actually so indicative of his channel's complete indifference to actual media. Look at this. This is really interesting. This Steven Crowder video is going to get a ton of views. 30K views in 1 hour is really, really good. Here's the video on the Blizzard strike that is happening today. 51,000 views. That would be low for my channel, and my channel's a third the size of his. Actual major industry, like, media event taking place that could massively shift the trajectory of one of the largest game companies versus Steven Crowder got made fun of on Twitter. Yeah, this isn't a media review channel. It's just another conservative channel that uses media review as like a framework that he engages in. There is a lot of stuff on Blizzard in here, though. Banned from Amazon's New World for milking and massive what? Banned from Amazon's New World for milking and massive beta sets record and bricks NVIDIA RTX 3090 card. Am I having a stroke? I might be. I might be. Got to get that title bait. Is that bait? That's more of a title pile up. Okay. Blizzard walkout, got that. Woke RTX 3090. We need to convince right-leaning people that RTX 3090s are woke, so they'll stop buying them for their Bitcoin mining, so I can buy one for my next rig, okay? Because I do not want to buy a pre-built just so I can disassemble it and take out one part. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. Fuck, I'd probably get copyrighted if I try to look at this, wouldn't I? More perfect union. Would I get copyrighted for this? I wonder if I wouldn't. Guys, what do you think the odds are of me being copyrighted if I cover the Frito-Lay More Perfect Union, like, you know, the little mini... Kyle showed that it was fine. Yeah? All right. Why would they copyright you? It's complicated, okay? Isn't it advertising? Well, hold on. Let me pee and then we'll give it a look. You know, I've still never actually understood why you all throw the dogs out. Exclusive. Frito-Lay worker Brandon Ingram was severely electrocuted on the job, disabled, and denied medical care. Now Brandon, his wife, and children are being stalked and secretly filmed by company agents. This is the most disturbing Frito-Lay story we've covered. All right.
Recording my kids, they are stalking us. Recording my kids playing in the yard.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
I tried to hold it in, I'm sorry.
So I got the job at Frito-Lay in January of 2011. Prior to Frito-Lay, I was in the United States Navy.
Leaving the service, he just needed to matter. He needed to belong and have a purpose. We both thought he found that in Frito-Lay. And so we kind of centered our life around it.
I worked hard. I bust my butt every day, in and out. Shit, my wife was gonna divorce me because she didn't even think I was at work for real.
No, I did not believe my husband just spent 20 hours at work.
Jesus Christ. 20 hours? At Frito-Lay's.
No one would believe that. He's not a doctor. It's chips. It's chips and dip.
I went on a stretch one time of like 26 days in a row.
Jesus Christ. By the way, I want to say this, since we're watching this video a couple days after it came out, that there actually has been something of a resolution to the strike that was going on. Frito-Lay workers end 19-day strike in Kansas with contract that guarantees 1 day off per week. 1 day off. Woo! Hundreds of Frito-Lay employees are returning to work in Kansas, ending a 19-day streak with the weekend ratification of a 2-year contract. Two-year contract, by the way, so not even a permanent upgrade to their standards, just a 2-year contract that guarantees them at least 1 day off each week and raises wages. Workers at the Topeka plant had called on the snack food giant to end forced overtime and 84-hour work weeks. 84-hour work weeks. Remember when I was talking with that ghoul, Garen Brook, and he was like, the government didn't need to institute work time limit laws and overtime laws because corporations would have done that of their own goodwill anyway. You know? Here's corporations on their own goodwill. If they can get away with it, they'll do this. 84-hour work week. And there are a lot of people thinking, you know, why would people choose to stay in jobs this bad? To which my answer is, I don't know. Do you think it's just because they were dumb and it never occurred to them that they could just find another job? Or do you think there might have been some structural reason they felt they had to stay there? Do you think, like, when you take a look at people who are working for years in conditions like this really destroys the myth that people could, just find another job, dude. Because it's not always that simple.
was using the DORE. You press the button and it automatically does what it's supposed to do.
I broke my
electrocuted.
hand in one of those once.
I was taken to the ER.
I didn't get
but
electrocuted.
The emergency room they took me to was 45 minutes away. We passed 4 hospitals on the way.
Yup, that's workers' comp. I'm so lucky that I don't have a fear of confrontation. When I broke my hand in one of those big security doors, the manager was like, "Okay, yeah, we got to send you over to this place." And they like they were like, "Look here." And it was like a place by the airport in LA. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get to the airport in Los Angeles, LAX, from Beverly Hills during midday traffic? Do you have any fucking idea how long that takes? So I said, "Nope, I'm going to the UCLA hospital and you're paying for it." And they did it. So maybe if they pushed back more on that, that wouldn't have happened. But to my credit, I think that went pretty well for me. And you know what? That hospital was sick. I got seen by 4 medical experts. They gave a cast. They put a cast in my hand like a chef team at Benihana's assembling a little plate. How bad was the hand? It was all these bones. They all got snapped backwards diagonally. How big was the bill? I didn't pay shit. It was workers' comp. Happened at the workplace. Tell them about the bar they were gonna fuck you for life. About the bar they were gonna fuck you for life. The bar? Do you mean the bad cast? I need a follow-up on that. Jog my memory. Yes. Oh yeah. So when I went to the UCLA hospital, they gave me an amazing cast. It was big, it was heavy, and it molded to my hand perfectly. It was almost comfortable, except my hand was throbbing because it hurt. You know how it is, right? It felt good. And later, for subsequent follow-ups, the workplace, they wouldn't pay for the UCLA hospital, so I went over to that little workplace comp insurance like outlet, and they gave me the shittiest cast, dude. It was like a little bit of gauze around the hand and then like a brace that I would hold a bar on. And because I used that one for the remainder of my recovery, I now have a permanent like fuck up with my hand. My hand naturally sits like this. The middle finger crosses over my ring finger now. Whenever I hold something like a vertical bar at like a bus or whatever, it's uncomfortable because these two fingers, I can't separate them that well. So it like gets like pushed into it, you know? And it's because the cast was just not. You can kind of see it when I close my hands. See how these two fingers like curve into each other as opposed to a regular hand? You see the difference, right? Like with this one, it's got like the points together. See? You know? You can see it, right? I see it. The claw. Anyway, it doesn't hurt or anything. Yeah. Yeah, but if that had been my care from the start, if I hadn't been able to get the UCLA cast for the first 2 weeks or so, it's possible the damage could have been much worse, you know? So I'm glad that I pushed for that. Anyway, yeah, you get hurt at one of these workplaces, and then they're like, okay, here's workers' comp, and they dump you off at like a little dumbass clinic.
To the hospital they wanted to take me to. And the reason it is because they sign a contract with a certain hospital and a certain network.
Yep.
From the very next day after the accident, my husband was never the same. He was working really hard to even just get up on to the side of the bed. Usually he's like hops out of bed and he hurries up, puts his clothes on, and he shoves food down his throat and he's out the door, you know, in 30 minutes. He was used to it. He was trained to do that in the service.
When I say I was healthy as an ox, I was healthy as an ox.
We just didn't have any answers. They said he should have been fine, but he wasn't.
I didn't get any time off after the incident. I had to call off the next day as a sick day. I told you I was in pain. I told you it hurts when I walk. And it was like, okay, you know, are you gonna be here tomorrow?
Okay. Gotta be here tomorrow? I mean, thank you, management. It's important to remember that management as horrifically as they act, are usually under like a comparable level of pressure from the people above them. That's how the system perpetuates itself. It would be unstable if it was just like management is cruel for funsies, you know? The stability of the suffering is maintained by making sure the management feels as desperate to maintain the exploitation of the workers as the actual owners do. An incentivization structure.
I was a site lead, and I know what that entails. You're a leadership of the whole warehouse, so if you have to fill in, you have to fill in. I asked for some type of relief, period, because I was still obligated to work, like picking cases and unloading trucks or rotating product on a forklift. I asked for a chair that I could sit in that would make me more comfortable while I'm doing my office work. They denied it. You're either 100% or you can't work. It just felt like they was just trying to push me out. Eventually I got an MRI by my primary doctor, and he showed that I had 2 herniated discs in my back. And he was like, you shouldn't be doing anything. They could only fix it with surgery.
Shit.
And
Yeah.
my husband still had to work this whole entire time.
So I'm sure that the people at this factory had to sign some bullshit liability waiver, but like, this isn't just... So what he got here wasn't just like workers' comp case. This should be lawsuit case. He got electrocuted for the normal operation of this. Workers' comp kicks in whenever you're hurt on the job. But this isn't like he was hurt on the job. This is faulty wiring in the place nearly killed him. This is a little bit beyond that, you know?
They had to remove 2 of the discs in my neck because they were bulging into my spinal cord. I wasn't getting enough fluid to my brain. If I didn't have the surgery, the doctor said any small fall or accident or something like that, and I would have been paralyzed from the neck down or dead. I still have to have surgery on my lower lumbar spine.
From the moment that he couldn't work anymore and needed short-term disability, Frito-Lay abandoned us.
I had to file for short-term disability and then long-term disability. Got approved for long-term disability, but that was months later. So no income coming in.
That's a picture of the car. We were driving.
They require you
Wealthiest
to go
country
to
in the
doctor
world,
so
by the
many
way.
times, and the doctor has to say that you're in this condition over and over and over. But guess what? You don't have any insurance anymore through PepsiCo/Frito-Lay.
Don't you love having insurance tied to workplaces so that when injuries take place at work, the same system that injures you is the system that can deprive you of your health care?
Because they cut you off. I had to pay for that out of pocket too. Didn't have the money to do that.
Yeah, no shit.
So guess what? I borrowed money or used credit cards or whatever I could. I even took money out my kids' piggy bank.
Jesus, dude.
We had to take from our children to live.
And the doctor knew what was going on, so he was like, look, just pay half of what you owe every visit, and we'll just take care of the rest later.
First good news I've seen
I
since
never
this
wanted
started.
to have a lawsuit.
No, you should.
Not me.
Yeah, you
But
should.
I did ask for help, and I wasn't getting it.
Uh-huh. This is what Frito-Lay has money for, okay? Not money for medical care or for hiring more workers so that they don't have to work 80 billion hours a week or whatever. They do have money for private investigators who will record you to undermine any lawsuit you file against them, though. This is what they have money for.
Frito-Lay, Pepsi, Sedgwick, whoever has people following my family. They are stalking us.
Just to find something to be.
It's to set a precedent? Yeah, it's to set a precedent. These are basically like... These are like the workers' comp or lawsuit equivalent of strikebreakers or like Pinkertons. Their job is to make every worker terrified of the prospect of suing them. That suing them not only means you're up against like an elite team of corporate lawyers, it also means every element of your life is going to be made worse, that you never ever want to step against them, that you should just sit down and be complacent and deal with whatever scraps they decide to give you when you're injured because of their faulty wiring or their horrible workplace culture or their insufficient OSHA standards.
Be like, oh, he's okay.
Recording my kids playing in the yard.
Oh, and one other thing, by the way, to every libertarian out there who thinks that, like, corporations wouldn't be able to get away with this if fewer government regulations existed, how? This is what corporations can do in spite of government regulation. Like, how? What, like, get rid of all regulation and then they'll do this less?
Recording me doing yard work. They follow me in traffic, on the highway, on streets. They followed me when I gave birth to my baby. They followed me to my daughter's school. I took my daughter out of school and decided to homeschool because I don't know if we're safe. I don't know how many people they've given our address and name and information to just to prove my husband wrong. They've done it for years.
Why are you fighting so hard to say that I'm not hurt instead?
I want you to think for a second. What do you think the cost is of hiring multiple corporate private investigators for years? How many hundreds of thousands of dollars did they spend on trying to delegitimize this guy's lawsuit that could have just spent in his medical care to begin with?
Instead of just look at the paperwork, look at the medical stuff, look at everything I've been through. You would think that I'm a bad.
Do you remember what I said earlier in an earlier thing about how it's about maintaining the power distinction? Exactly, Mask. It's about maintaining the power distinction, not about actual optimal efficiency. It would be cheaper for them, in this case, to deal with the medical care costs. But in this case, it's not about that. It's about maintaining the power differential, the hierarchy, you know? I mean, you can make the argument that there's a broader, like, profit motive to be had in disincentivizing future lawsuits, but at a certain point, you really have to wonder, are all of these decisions being made exclusively out of the profit interest, or is there some underlying contempt of the working class that motivates this? Because I refuse to believe that cruelty isn't the point when stuff like this happens, you know?
The employee, the way that everything has went. I've never done anything wrong to this company or even with this company. I have numerous awards to show that I'm not a person that you just throw away. I knew the sales side, I knew the operations side.
They don't care.
I mean, hell, you could have just let me be a lead and just manage instead of physically working.
Billion-dollar corporate.
Oh, and to anyone who disagrees with me on that, I have to ask you again, why did slave masters whip and kill their slaves? Surely this is a poor economic decision, right? It's not just about the economics. There is an underlying power differential that people in power feel a long-standing need to disincentivize rebellion. If you think the entire history of cruelty and murder against slaves, it was purely a matter of disincentivizing rebellion and not just a broader expression of contempt of the people weaker than them, like, yeah, it goes beyond that. I think while a lot of it can be explained through economic and, like, power incentives, a lot of it also comes down to differences in humans' power just leading them to be cruel to those beneath them. All of history reinforces this. The people who in charge of Pepsi Lay or, like, Coke or whatever the fuck, they don't just do this because it makes them money. They do this because they don't think much of the working class. And you see this all over the place. It's a PepsiCo, yeah. It's a fundamental contempt for people beneath you that permeates basically every level of every upper class in every society in all of human history. It is very easy to spot in pretty much every historical example. Power differences just make people worse.
Corporations like Pepsi, which owns Frito-Lay, they know this is happening to people, and they do nothing about it. My husband shouldn't have to fight for 5 years over something that took less than 5 minutes to impact our entire life. He pushed a button at work, a button he can't avoid pushing. He has to push it. It's his job.
For a company that talks
Yeah,
about...
we're not going to talk about the faulty wiring that led to the electrocution. Yeah, we know he's not at fault for pushing the button. Like, why...
About diversity and culture and a family-oriented business. Family don't just throw you out because you get injured.
The company...
This is why if you're ever working for a business and they describe you as like a family member, you should legitimately seek employment elsewhere if you have the ability. I have never seen, either anecdotally in my experience or in my friend's experience, a company that does that shit that does not abuse the fuck out of its workers. They're doing it so they can exploit you harder later, okay? That's it.
Makes over $200 billion a year, okay? It's chips. But my husband is worth $0 to them because he's no longer able to push those chips.
You are a number. You're a piece of property. I bust my butt for them. Blood, sweat, tears, sacrifices, holidays, birthdays. I miss so much family things because they make you feel like if you don't do what they say, they will let you go.
I don't even know where to go from here. Honestly, all the life goals and marriage goals and family goals that we had are gone, and I just have to figure out how to survive. And my goal and hopes and dreams now is for my husband to get back healthy and still be alive with us in the future. He dodged bullets in the city of St. Louis growing up. He dodged gangs. He stayed out of all of that. He went to war. He dodged bullets and bombs and came back to me. And now he's been electrocuted at work. We don't know what's gonna happen from day to day. My husband stops breathing at night in his sleep. I have to wake him up at night to make sure he keeps breathing. I have to help with my children who don't understand they can't jump and play with daddy.
I mean, I just went from a very fit guy to a guy who is disabled and can barely just handle regular life stuff. I'm 36. I should be able to play with my kids in the yard. I just want my life back.
Getting that nice black pill on corporate culture here. This has gotten a lot of attention. I am heartened, if nothing else, by the response to this. Are gonna need a hell of a lot more, though, if the striking workers in Kansas rolled over for a 2-year contract that guarantees them 1 day off, then that's well, I feel like there's a lot more work to be done, you know, if nothing else. The Frito-Lay strike and analysis. Somebody just pointed this out in chat. Don't Walk, Run Productions. I think I covered this guy's video once before, and I remember him being a dumb fuck, so...
On July 5th, 2021, members of the Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Workers, and Grain Millers International Union Local 218 went on strike at a Frito-Lay factory in Topeka, Kansas over issues of low pay, mandatory overtime, and long hours.
Company says, we're shocked they went on strike. How are you shocked? Did you think that we would go to 90 hours before we would hit the streets?
And this person is Mark McCarter, a
Hey, Mark.
59-year-old employee who has worked at the Topeka Frito-Lay factory for 37 years.
Wow.
In a Vice.com article, Mark claims that he was forced to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. After 37 years, I still get forced to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You don't even have a life. Like, where do you even live? There's no light, there's no living. Where's the live time? Here. Including, like, commute, like, back and forth. I don't know. This is literally 50% of all of your life.
And I told the company, I don't want to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they're still having me do it sometimes. Wait, so they make him work 7 days a week all the time? Or they make him do it sometimes? Get your story.
All right, I think we're going to tear into this one. So, when a person's been working at a place for 37 years and they say all the time, colloquially, when humans say all the time, they don't literally mean 100% of the time. They mean very frequently. I like how like nonchalant this guy can be with like this guy's entire life being dedicated to the profit making of fucking Frito-Lays, you know, and he's like,
Story straight, Mark. Anyway, that Vice article doesn't tell you that Mark McCarter is a union steward, so part of his job during a strike is to paint Frito-Lay as a terrible employer. And
by telling the facts, he seems to have done so.
That in turn generates sympathy from the public for their poor employees and outrage towards the mean old company.
So this is what I mean, by the way, by like contempt for the working class, even though this guy's probably not some like big oligarch or whatever. Notice how he's assuming his audience right off the bat, his audience is assumed to be completely unsympathetic to these horribly exploited workers, you know?
This is a tactic that you've seen on my channel before, and if you missed them, there's a playlist in the description. Anyway, Anthony Shelton, the president of BCTGM, also made this claim about his members being overworked. In a statement, he wrote, "Current employees are being forced to work 7 days a week, up to 12 hours per shift." Now, when you, the viewer, see that statement, are you thinking that he means all of their employees? Some of their employees? Clearly, there is a...
Jesus Christ. Wait, seriously? Are we reducing this to pedantry? No, actually, 56% of our employees work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, all the time, and 23% of them work 7 days a week about 80% of the time, and on average about 10.5 hours per shift. What are you talking about? We're talking about hundreds of employees. Obviously, a full statistical breakdown of any person's participation in any part of this job is going to need, like, a spreadsheet. This is a blurb in an article.
Lack of nuance, and it's by design. Because news outlets like the Washington Post and CBS News will type up headlines complete with the union's talking points, whether or not 84-hour work weeks are a real issue.
What do you mean, whether or not they're a real issue? Even if they happen once, they're a real issue. They don't have to happen all the time. Look, this article is even being conservative with its language. Include 84-hour work weeks. Not always have 84-hour work weeks. Not 100% of the time the work week is 84 hours. It just includes them.
Are a real issue.
Imagine being an employee in here that has not had a day off for 5 months. That is the reality of what you're seeing. That is the reality of why you're really seeing the picket over here.
But is it reality? Well, not according to Frito.
What the fuck is this person? I feel like this person's mannerisms are designed to make the audience dislike them.
In a press release, Frito-Lay states, "We believe claims about work hours at the Topeka facility have been grossly exaggerated. Out of 850 employees in Topeka, only 20, approximately 2%, averaged over 60 hours a week." So to be accurate, 2.35% of the employees at the Topeka plant average over 60 hours a week.
So wait, here's a question. Why are you doubting what somebody said because they work for unions, but then taking Frito-Lay at their word? Is this a joke? Wait, you're like, no, you can't be exploited. The company said they're not doing it. Is this a fucking joke? What a pathetic little wispy-bearded, soy-faced fuck who looks strangely like Peter Coffin. Yeah, dude, you can't be exploited. Frito-Lay says right here they're not doing it, dude.
So, does that mean that 20 employees are being forced to work 84 hours a week? Apparently, that's not true either. Frito-Lay states, "Our records indicate..."
Wait, no way! Wait, really? But even this claim is exaggerated. You see, Frito-Lay, wait, really? Literally, the first statement this guy makes is, hey, this guy's a union rep, so, like, maybe he'll bias his statements and then fail to prove that he has, but then we're taking Frito-Lay's statements at their word.
19 employees worked 84 hours in a given work week in 2021, with 16 of those as a result of employees volunteering for overtime, and only 3 being required to work. First, if you have the wherewithal to volunteer...
First of all, first of all, we shouldn't trust Frito-Lay's statement on any of this. Second of all, under any circumstances, anyone being forced to work an 84-hour work week is wildly unacceptable. Also, what kind of volunteering? I know about volunteering. It's like crunch culture at game dev studios, right? Oh, yeah, dude. You know, we really need you to stay overnight and work this game. Oh, yeah, dude. It's not like you don't have to, but... I mean, a lot of other people would like your job, you know?
Voluntarily work 12 hours a day for a total of 84 hours a week, you deserve a round of applause. And according to an online posting from a Frito-Lay warehouse employee, anything over 8 hours in a day is overtime, so you don't have to hit 40 hours to get your overtime money. 6th day is time and a half, and 7th day is double time. Okay. So if true, the people working 84 hours a week are making bank. As for the
That's the defense? hey, at least they're getting overtime pay for their unfathomable work hours. Shame they can't use it on anything because they don't have any time to experience any of the joys of life.
3 employees total that were required to work, they probably had to make up shifts for calling out
We're
sick,
legit just taking
days off,
Frito-Lay
things
at
like
their
that.
word here.
But regardless, it's a far cry from the union's misleading language.
Also, there's no guarantee they're getting that overtime pay. If they're willing to, like, be this ruthlessly exploitative, they're probably willing to break overtime payment laws as well. Just because something works in theory doesn't mean that it necessarily works in practice. Keep in mind that wage theft is by far the largest monetary value of theft in the United States. Let me see if I can find that. What is it? Wage theft, United States. There's a nice little graph on that. There we go. Thank you. So here is wage theft when employers steal from employees compared to every other kind of theft in America combined. Minimum wage violations, overtime violations, rest break violations, and off-the-clock violations amount to a total of, what would this be, around 35 to 40 billion? Compared to everything else together being around 12 to 13 billion. Link Vosh? Just Google wage theft United States.
Another issue that the union supposedly has with the company is the amount of overtime that employees are required to work. According to the Vice article, many of the 850 workers at the facility say they work 84 hours a week with no days off.
So here's a quick question. Does this guy have an explanation for why apparently all of these people at the facility are lying? Because he's taking Frito-Lay at its word. So, like, did the unions just, like, blackmail all of these workers in their nefarious scheme to set up a union so they can get union dues or something? Is there, like, anything else here? Just any explanation?
With no days off, which we know is a lie. Workers are not only forced to work 8-hour shifts, but because of shortages, workers are often forced to add on an extra 4 hours before or after their shifts. And a likely reason for these shortages is because Kansans are still able to accept federal unemployment benefits of $300 a week until September, which is, of course, on top of state unemployment benefits. And according to the governor of Kansas, in mid-July, there were 51,000.
Wait, check their reply to pinned comment. It's even worse. What are we talking about? As a union man, I am voting thumbs down in this video. Union is responsible for 5-day work weeks. True. Overtime. True. Benefits. True. And much, much more. Very true. Without unions, the only person profiting from a job would be the owner. True. And then, so if unions are responsible for a 5-day work week, then why don't the workers at Frito-Lay, Kansas have 2 guaranteed days off? I think the problem in this case is the union. What? Is he saying the union? What? What union? They're not in a union. What? What? Most intelligent anti-unionist. Yeah. Is there a union or is it just a union helping them? The way I interpreted this is that there's a broader union in the state that's assisting them with this strike, but these workers are not unionized themselves. Unions do nothing but protect unskilled, lazy general laborers. Yeah, these are all bootlickers. These are people who are never ever going to pay off their college debt and always blame themselves for it. You can be mad at these people, but you should feel bad for them first and foremost, okay? This comment section is not full of, like, millionaire, like, trust fund babies, okay? A lot of these people are going to live desperate, pathetic lives with no respite from the economic forces pressing down on them, and all they've ever been taught to do is look up and lick, okay? You should pity them. Not the Don't Walk, Run Productions guy, but some of them. Can you debunk more why unions are bad videos? You don't do it nearly enough. The problem is that, like, the people who try to, quote, debunk unions are very emotionally invested and have no interest in the data. It's all really standard, like, American individualist exceptionalism stuff, you know? Unions just help the weak workers. They'll ignore all the history. In the case of Yaron Brooks, they'll just lie and say all the good thing unions did would have just happened 2 years afterwards if not for the unions anyway, you know? It's really, really dumb. No thought, no brain, head empty.
Job openings. But unions aren't allowed to criticize Democrat policies that create more problems than they solve.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Kansas, in mid-July, there were 51,000 job openings. But unions aren't allowed to criticize Democrat policies that create more problems than they solve.
What? 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 What does this have to do with the Frito-Lay thing? He's saying that there are open jobs because of the unemployment benefits. What does that have to do with the Frito-Lay thing? What is he trying to say? I don't know. He's just saying stuff.
So instead, they blame Frito-Lay. BCTGM President...
Wait. How is there being unemployment elsewhere in the state? He's saying because of a labor shortage, they need to work longer. That's not how labor rights work. If you don't have enough workers to do your work, you cut back production, not you run the existing employees into the ground, or you raise wages. Hey, if you want more workers, raise wages. How about that, huh? That's a fun one. That's an effective adherence to the supply-demand curve that a person could try if they wanted.
Anthony Shelton claims the union has repeatedly asked the company to hire more workers, and yet despite...
So the union, are they in a union, or is it, wait, hold on. Are the Frito-Lay Kansas workers in a union? If they're in a union... Yeah, I think he's just referring to the broader state union that's facilitating the strike and not the actual, like... Frito-Lay, owned by PepsiCo, said the union representing the workers will have additional opportunities for input on staffing and overtime. What is the name? The workers belong to Local 218 of the Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Workers, and Grain Miller International Union. In a statement Saturday, Anthony Shelton, the union's international president, said the workers have shown the world that the union working people can stand up against the largest food companies in the world and claim victory for themselves. Okay, so I think this is a sectoral union, right? So this isn't a union that, like, specifically represented the people at this factory. This was a union that was just broadly protecting these people. And it looks like... Okay, so with that being the case... I think I actually agree with this dude. The union did fail their workers. The union should have been pushing for a strike way, way, way before. That doesn't change the fact that the Frito-Lay Corporation was doing despicable, disgusting things, but the union probably should have stepped in way sooner. Yeah, for sure. Of course, it probably doesn't help that union membership is constantly declining thanks to dumb fucks like this, but, yeah. Okay, that doesn't really contradict my position, though.
Record profits. Frito-Lay management has refused this request. Then please explain the massive number of job listings that were posted before the strike was called. These job listings even offered sign-in bonuses months before the union called the strike. So this is...
These conditions at the Frito-Lay factory have been going on for years. Remember? The workers said years. Not just the unemployment benefits time range, not just the COVID-19 unemployment surge. Years. You mean even back during Trump's incredibly high employment rate back in 2019? Even then, this was still going on. This was not because of a lack of available workers.
This isn't a he said, she said thing. Here, the union is clearly lying. So the question is, can you trust the union over Frito-Lay? Nope. No, you cannot.
So, yeah, literally, like, trust the corporation doing the bad things. Also, again, is this, like, deliberately designed to irritate me?
Can you trust the union over Frito-Lay?
Look at this.
Nope. No, you
Look
cannot.
at this.
Next, in the Vice article, union steward Mark McMahon...
Wait, he's not going to explain why you can't? He's not actually going to justify the reason why he'll arbitrarily trust the corporation but not the unions? And he'll just arbitrarily, like, deny the lived experiences of the hundreds of workers who have spoken out about this, and then trust the corporation who has every incentive in the world to downplay it? He's not going to explain why. He's just going to, like, just do it. Hey, don't walk, run productions. You want to talk sometime? I'm a little offensive, but you do look like a huge pussy, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't want to, but, like, this is pretty bad, my dude. You want to talk sometime? We can have a nice conversation, okay? I won't call you any mean words. And we can talk about the Frito-Lay strike or whatever. I just want to ask you some questions, you know? Would that be cool? We could do that. I'll be very nice. We can watch a little bit more of this, but I think we get the gist. I don't know how much analysis I can do on guy arbitrarily takes company at word and says everyone who says anything else is lying.
Master is quoted as saying the following. We're hoping we...
Actually, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. Editors, cut this out. Editing magic, go. Buddy. What's up? All right.
We can get these people back to work with a decent wage and some kind of alternative to all this forced overtime. Honestly, I don't know how what they're doing is legal. Well, first, Mark, employees already seem to make a decent wage. According to Frito-Lay, hourly wages at the Topeka plant range from $18.35 an hour to $36.91 per hour. And even on the low end, $18.35 an hour in Kansas is pretty good, right? Or was that whole...
First of all, that's a pretty big range. Second of all, I'm really not inclined to trust anything Frito-Lay says or does here. Third of all, it's hard work. And fourth of all, like, are we really gonna... What is at a normal wage? If you're working at... They hire them temp at lower wage. Yeah, I bet. There's always some, like, fuckery they do. Anybody who's ever worked a real job in their lives know that there's tons of fuckery that corporations will do to overinflate the quality of life and the quality of living and the quality of employment at their place. But even then, like, if you work $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, that's $800 a week, which is $3,200 a month, which is, what, about $40,000 a year? So full-time at 20 hours is about $40,000 a year, which is below the median income for a household. I mean, it's not like... I know that with all the overtime, assuming they're paid for it, which is not a guarantee, stacks up. But, like, that's not really the issue at hand here. If they're doing hard work, if they want higher pay, they should be able to push for it. And by the way, here's a quick question. Hey, I'm guessing this guy's a big lover of freedom and free market economics. Why do unions not have a right to push for a higher wage? Why do workers not have a right to push for a higher wage? Like, corporations try to push for lower ones all the time. You never have any, you don't put any videos out on that, did you? I bet you don't. You don't have any videos going, I think this corporation pays people an unfairly low amount. Because if that happened, you would say, oh, well, they could just find employment elsewhere. You know? It's just really interesting. There are a lot of people out there who are like, yeah, I'm a big fan of free market economics, but then they forget that part of the supply-demand curve for employment is paying people more. If there weren't enough people working there, they should have hired more people, and they should have done it by offering higher wages. Simple as that. Maybe give them some fucking benefits.
Well, fight for 15 thing a bunch of BS. And as far as forced overtime,
how is the fight for 15 thing BS? Because people in one assembly line in Kansas get paid more than 15 an hour. What possible connection is there between these things?
overtime goes, yes, Mark, it's very legal. Employers always make it clear upon hiring that overtime is a possibility and may happen on short notice.
He said, I don't know how this can be legal. Not, this isn't legal. Did you hear what he said? He said it shouldn't be legal. Not, this is illegal.
And remember that a full-time job is at least 40 hours a week. There is no maximum. Now, as far as the...
Thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. There actually is a maximum number of hours in the week, if you think about it. Thank you for the reminder. You know, I like that. So there are so many things to say there. First of all, it's so stupidly obvious that it makes him look like an idiot for saying it. And then there's also the fact that, like, by saying it, he's kind of implying that you should never be able to complain about being overworked because of, like, the legality of the situation. There's so much to that, you know?
The Frito-Lay factory goes, according to this video by More Perfect Union, you can opt out of forced overtime, but you'll be penalized for it and lose points.
Oh, that seems fair.
And of course, they don't bother to put it in context and explain to viewers how this point system works.
Yeah, tell us.
Because it just sounds more terrible that way.
Tell us. I'm sure. Do you think his explanation is going to come exclusively from Frito-Lay website? So it's going to be like, look, they say it's fine.
And that's fine.
The point system is used to fire people.
We're getting penalized for taking time off.
Yes, when you take unscheduled days off, when you call out sick too many times, when you're late for work, you...
Wait, they didn't say unscheduled time off or late for work or too many sick days off. They just said taking time off. This guy's like, yeah, we get penalized for taking time off. And this guy's like, yeah, man, if you show up late for work too many times. They didn't say that, did they, my friend? No, they said taking time off, a thing that you have a legal right to. And some, wait, I forget. Does America have any standard for legal time off? I'm sorry, I might have been Europe-brained for a second there. Unpaid, I mean. America laws unpaid time off. Yeah, no. Wow. I actually can't believe how much this country fucking hates its working class. Holy shit. There's no maximum or minimum amount of unpaid leave from work that employees must legally have. That is insane. Now, some states may have laws about this, but like, wow. Okay, sorry. I just got to take a second right there and get a requirement, you know?
You get penalized, just like most jobs with hourly positions. But remember that this point system was negotiated by the union. Complain about it all you want, but point system isn't going anywhere.
What kind of rebuttal is that? Oh yeah, they make this system sound bad, but here's my rebuttal. Complain about it all you want. It's not going anywhere. Okay. All right. And maybe the union negotiated for it because the alternative was worse. Maybe the union did a bad job. I don't know what any of that has to do with these positions.
I've had to cancel so many doctor appointments, dentist appointments that I could not make them because of the forced overtime. Walking out the plant last second, hey, you're forced over.
She couldn't arrange the time off with her manager in advance? I honestly find that very hard to believe.
I think she said... Wait, hold on. Did you not listen to what she said? She said the forced overtime was sprung on her as she was leaving. He's literally not listening.
But whatever. Let's take another look at this forced overtime. In this tweet, More Perfect Union made the claim that they obtained timesheets confirming Frito-Lay's rampant abuse of mandatory overtime. Frito-Lay claimed that reports of forced overtime were grossly exaggerated.
Want to bet they're not actually going to show the sheets and that? Oh no, they might. Okay, let's see.
These timesheets prove them wrong. No, they don't. Because first of all, Frito-Lay never said that. As I previously showed, what Frito-Lay said were grossly exaggerated were the claims of 84-hour work weeks. They didn't say anything about forced overtime.
What do you think leads to the 84-hour work weeks? What do you... This is incredible. This guy's failing at pedantry. This guy's fucking amazing. We need to cover this guy more often. I don't even have to think. Look, the segment title says overtime right here in bold. The first word shown in the image being displayed is overtime because they're talking about overtime. You work a lot because of overtime. What's this guy's deal? Does he just like companies? He just doesn't like poor people, okay?
And let's look at these smoking gun timesheets. On this one from December 2020, out of the 105 people working, only 34 of them had an F next to their name.
Only a third of people at any given point in time were forced to work overtime? Is this a W for you? Dude, yeah, dude, it's like 1 in 3 at that time that you might just be arbitrarily forced to work longer. This is what this guy is. This is what he's got. Oh no. Oh, is this guy tweeting? Oh shit. Followed by Tim Pool, the only person I know who follows him. There's no recent tweet. Hold on. There we go. Does this actually do anything? Huh? Before his name? Oh, there you go. Thank you. You let Pigeon in here. There we go. Wait. Well, wait. If it's showing on my wall, I need to be less sarcastic. Your most recent video was incredibly stupid, and I'd love to talk about it. There we go. That's fine. Maybe impressively? No. That's probably better. Smiley face. How about that? Does that work? That works. All right.
Indicating forced overtime. And on this timesheet from June 2020, of the 62 people scheduled, only 20 of them had an F next to their name.
Again, a third. What? Why is this some kind of like epic own? Only a third of our workers at any given point of time are forced to work overtime. Okay.
So on both days, only about a third of the workers were required to work overtime, which means that More Perfect Union's tweet doesn't hurt Frito-Lay. It just proves that the union's claims are grossly exaggerated.
If there were reports that like there was a lot of sexual harassment in a company, and then it was found out that only 1/3 of employees were sexually harassed on any given shift, that would still be a lot.
Great job, idiots.
Oh no, imagine this guy's take on Blizzard. Oh god, I can imagine this guy's take on Blizzard. First of all, having visited Blizzard Studio myself, I had multiple interactions with females that were not sexual harassment. So their claims that sexual harassment happens, quote, all the time, are clearly over-exaggerated. Here's a statement published by Blizzard saying that there is no corporate culture of sexual harassment in the workplace. So clearly they're lying. We know exactly how it would go.
This is a strike for our lives. We get no days off.
And thanks to More Perfect Union, we know that's a lie because on this spreadsheet, we...
What lie? What did they say that was a lie?
Our lives. We get no days off.
And thanks to More Perfect Union, we know that's a lie because on this spreadsheet, we see that 44 people are scheduled as out, which means that more people had a day off than the number of workers that received forced overtime.
Of about 120 people, right? So 2/3 of the people were working. Also, is this a day sheet or is this a shift sheet? Because I'm pretty sure I remember it saying at the top this was a shift sheet, which means this might not even apply to the entirety. Second shift. These are shift sheets. This doesn't even necessarily mean a day off. It's also possible the reason why you're only seeing forced overtime on these people is because they end up working in through to the next shift, and that gets overtime. This isn't even a full shift or full day. This is just a shift. This is unbelievable.
Perfect Union, we know that's a lie because on this spreadsheet, we see that 44 people are scheduled as out, which means that more people had a day off.
Like, even if that's not the case, even if like being out here means you're out for the entirety of the day, even if that's the case, what does this change? It seems like this guy's argument, like the extent of it is they made the claim they're always experiencing bad stuff. But if you take a look at the data, it's only happening very often.
Than the number of workers that received forced overtime.
No time with our families, and we get no good pay. We haven't had a raise in years.
Well, if you get no good pay and haven't had a raise in years and you feel like you have a terrible work-family life balance, then quit Frito-Lay and find another job in the area.
Yeah, and there we go. Thank you very much. Just move! The highest IQ response under any situation. Dude, why aren't all these hundreds of suffering workers as smart as me? I realized that you could just, like, get another job, bro. Why haven't they done that? Huh, they must not be smart enough.
Darren Hall has worked for Frito-Lay for 37 years and is a box operator. I am on strike because for the...
He's responded to our tweets. No, he's responded, but not to me. He's responded to people who are responding to me, but not to me directly.
The last 10 years, things have continued to get worse. Something has to be done about our deteriorating working conditions and wages. And notice that Darren is standing next to a sign that says, better raises at McDonald's.
Cool.
What he fails to realize, however, is that better raises are much different than better pay. But why don't you quit and work at McDonald's, Darren? I dare ya.
Wait, what? How does he fail to realize that? What? How does he fail to realize that?
They are greedy. The CEO is making millions, yet we are making nothing.
Man, if that isn't right out of the union playbook.
We are making
It's
nothing.
right out of the history of economics playbook.
Getting cents in raises. This is not fair.
Wait, I thought you previously said you haven't gotten a raise in years. Now you're saying that you're getting cents in raises. Get your talking points straight, Esther.
Yeah, this is literally, he's just being a pedant. Like, there are protesters, like, angry, and he's like, you claim all of you have forced overtime, but it's only most of you. Also, you got a 60-cent raise in 2019. So, like, no substantive analysis of the situation, no engagement with any of the underlying facts of the matter, just a stupid, blind moron's desire to step in here and complain about people who are fighting for their end of the exchange with a corporation. This guy is he can't be a bootlicker because he's not, like, making money by working. He's making money by shitting onto a YouTube channel. But, like, this guy is, I would guess if I talked with him, impressively ignorant of how the economy or how, like, very basic supply-demand works.
An article on labornotes.org gives an example of one worker claiming that he's only gotten a 77-cent increase over the last 12 years. But the article also states that the last several contracts have featured lump sum bonuses most years, leaving wage rates stagnant for most classifications. And of course, since labor...
Yeah, lump sums for what? How large of a lump sum? Is it like $200? In which case it would pan out to having gotten like a few extra cents per day? Like what are we talking about here?
Notes.org is a pro-union website with an agenda. They won't talk about how much these bonuses are worth. But more importantly, they leave out the insignificant detail that the union...
What?
And of course, since labornotes.org is a pro-union website with an agenda, they won't talk about how much these bonuses are worth.
What is he suggesting that this was like secretly some like $30,000 package dropped at the end? What? Maybe they just didn't say it because it wasn't relevant to the broader exploitation these workers are experiencing? Maybe that's like the issue?
But more importantly, they leave out the insignificant detail that the union negotiated the terms of the contract and the workers voted in favor of them.
Because the alternative might have been worse? What does this own? Like the union should have done more? Okay. Yeah, sure, fine. Then why spend so much time dumping on the protesters if your complaint is that the union could have done more to represent them? This is clearly a disingenuous criticism. You don't actually think the union didn't do enough. You think the union shouldn't have done any more. There's a big difference between those two claims.
But it's Frito-Lay's fault. Got it. Now, one of the biggest issues...
Yes, because Frito-Lay was the reason they would have had to accept such bad conditions. Wait, if it weren't for Frito-Lay, they wouldn't have had to negotiate this at all. What do you mean? Just because you negotiated something bad doesn't mean the person who wants it worse isn't responsible.
Issues regarding the factory employees are squeeze shifts. This is where you work an 8 to 12 hour shift and then have to be back at work 8 hours later to start your next shift.
We have to do something with the suicide shifts because to work 12 hours and be off 8 and work 12 hours, you got time, travel time and everything. I said that's a safety risk.
And Frito-Lay agrees with this. In their press release, Frito-Lay claims
every single claim this guy has made to defend his point has been cited from the Frito-Lay's statements regarding Topeka strike, a document they released as a PR cover-up, like, to make them look good in the face of all of the public backlash against them. Literally, everything he has to say to defend them is coming directly from their PR team. Like, he might as well be working for them.
That on July 1st, they proposed to cap required work at 60 hours per week and eliminate the so-called squeeze shifts.
Okay.
So what did the union do? They went on strike anyway. And then they complained about the squeeze shifts to anyone that would listen.
What? Why wouldn't they? Wait, hold on. You can't simultaneously bitch about the unions not doing enough, but then also say the unions were pushing for too much. Do you notice how these are two contradictory positions? Earlier, he was making fun of the unions for accepting things that they would later dislike anyway, and now he's saying that the unions are being greedy and ungrateful for trying to push for more, even after Frito-Lay was willing to make a conciliatory gesture. See, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. He doesn't actually give a fuck about good union representation. He just wants to complain.
Company wants to call it a squeeze shift. It's nothing squeezing about it. It's suicide.
Love that this guy immediately looks off to the side smiling like, did I say it right?
Are we being real? Am I dealing with like fucking RT shills here? Is this an aside? Notice how when the guy at the protest tilted his head, this is an indication that he's actually being led by puppet masters to his side. While the YouTube guy just repeats talking points directly from Frito-Lay's website. The billionaires who run the company pay out PR management teams to disseminate the statement, and this guy just reads that statement and regurgitates it into a YouTube video.
Anyway, after 19 days, union members approved a new contract, bringing the strike to an end.
It wasn't enough.
The new contract includes a 4% raise over 2 years, which the union proposed and Frito-Lay accepted before the strike. The contract also eliminates squeeze shifts, which Frito-Lay proposed before the strike. The only new thing that benefits workers in the contract is that they're guaranteed at least 1 day off each week, but
compared to no guarantee for any days off, that is a pretty big jump. So they striked for 19 days and got the ability to live their life for 1 day. That's something.
Only when certain conditions are met. And remember all the complaining about overtime? Well, according to labor notes, the union turned down Frito-Lay's offer of capping work weeks to 60 hours because some union members had expressed concerns that the cap would mean higher seniority workers would end up being forced to work on their weekends after lower seniority workers reached the 60-hour limit. And that means that the union threw their lower seniority workers under the bus to protect their higher seniority workers. So
No, it doesn't. Some union members expressed concerns that this solution would end up having adverse problems down the line is not the same as they threw them under the bus. Also, hey, why don't they hire more workers? Why doesn't Frito-Lay hire more workers? Why can't they just do that? If they have trouble attracting more workers, that means they have to raise their wages. What? Yeah, Lord knows they have the money.
Seniority workers reached the 60-hour limit. And that means that the union threw their lower seniority workers under the bus to protect their higher seniority workers.
That's really not what that means. It just means that the introduction of a cap isn't enough of a solution when Frito-Lay is still going to try to squeeze them for as many hours as possible. This is literally a problem being caused by the greed of the corporation. The cap is only an issue in this case because the corporation has a need to drive people to work 60-hour weeks. You recognize that, right? That's the reason this is the problem.
So much for that union solidarity, huh? So what did the strike accomplish? Not much. While the workers are going to see a 4% increase in pay over the next 2 years, the ones who went on strike lost 3 weeks worth of pay, which they will never be able to make up.
And you're not mentioning the day off? The day off for people who didn't have a guarantee at a day off? You're not going to mention that? Okay, yeah. This guy is impressively stupid. Apparently, he used to appear on Tim Pool a lot, which is really funny because Tim Pool got his start at the 99% movement, you know? Occupy Wall Street. And this guy fucking hates the working class. So it's really, really funny that there would be any kind of play there. I bet you they agreed on almost everything. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this guy's really dumb. I don't know. How are we doing? Did this guy make even one decent point? No, he did not. At no point during that did he actually make, like, a successful counter-argument. I don't think. Uh-oh. Hold on. Evidence has been provided that I did, in fact, call Jimmy Dore a vaccine denier because he, talked about his vaccine side effects. Let's listen.
Did get vaccinated. People...
Oh my god. Dude, this is, I'm sorry, this is just so indicative of like the standard of truth-telling in right-wing communities. After the quartering treats, within like 2 seconds until I like any didn't or was an oh, it's not, it's just the guy who's super happy that his meme got shown on my stream. Oh, hey, Kitty! Hey, bring him in. So they didn't actually, so they can't find any evidence of me actually doing that.
We need baby time after all the sadness.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Dore.
I understand they don't actually care about making any points or being truthful, but like, there's something nihilistically terrifying about a person being like, you made this claim, and I'm gonna make a meme about it, and me pointing out I didn't make that claim, and their response is, haha, you saw my meme that lied about you making the claim you didn't make. I got the attention I was looking for, because my father didn't give me enough. Yes. No bite. He's silencing me. How old are they? Like 2 and 1, maybe? I don't know. Blow on him? Huh? You declawed him, didn't you? No. You shouldn't declaw cats. We trim his nails, but that's not declawing. Yeah, trim is good, declawing is bad. Yeah, declawing is like taking off their fingertips, basically. Or like removing fingernails, you know? Should everyone trim their cat's nails? If you want to get scratched up less. I play with him a lot, so... He's just a good kitty then, he didn't extend at all. Oh, he extends! He tries to claw me up. It's okay. Wait, are people eyeing me for trimming their nail? You can do that. It's like trimming fingernails. That's fine. Get them a scratching post. We have like 6 scratching posts all over the house, you know? All over the place. I don't have a cat. What makes declawing bad? It makes them depressed. It's literally their fingertips. And also, claws are how, like, they engage with the world, you know? It'd be like taking off your fingers, basically. Like, everything you do to, like, grapple, they can't climb anymore. They feel like they can't defend themselves. Yeah, it's, like, super bad. It's just bad in every level. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't declaw them, you know? Just... Yeah, you can get cat-specific nail clippers. Just clip their nails a little bit. You don't have to file them. They'll walk around for an hour and they'll file themselves, you know? They'll... Alright, okay, hold on. Let's take a look at this. What are we looking at? Okay. By said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vaxxer. By said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vaxxer. By said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vax. Oh, it's a out of context thing. I see. I get it. It's a 2-second clip of me saying I said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vaxxer. Like, say, for example, from a clip where I might have said, they can't prove I said Jimmy Dore was an anti-vaxxer. Nice. I don't know why I give these children attention, man. They don't care about whether or not anything is true or factual. Well, it really does make me wonder if it's like a genuine cognitive deficiency on their part. I can't help but wonder. So yeah, the Andrew at Don't Walk Run Productions has opted to not respond to my tweet, but to respond to one of the people responding to my tweet, to which he has 51 comments and 2 likes. So that's the level we're at right now. I want to have him on the show. He is so dumb. People like that are generally not that concerned with defending their positions because they don't believe in them that much. They know they hold them kind of frivolously, you know? I wouldn't expect much. I wonder if he's even good faith. I don't assume good faith with any of these people. Like, why would you, you know? What's the... Okay, cool. I see a small portion of Twitter is on fire now because of me, which is nice. Let's look at this a little bit, and then I'm going to read donos, and I might dip after that because there's some stuff I have to do before the stores close.
Anti-racist. Speaking up about racism during the BLM movements, went like re-viral. It caught some traction, and I was getting canceled by white supremacists, I think, or people who boo or like follow that agenda for not being racist.
I said there's nothing more 2021 than a person of color, Candace Owens, calling out a white man for standing up for persons of color.
Oh, she's the one that came after you?
Yes.
Wait, is this the girl that did the Harry Styles dress thing? Is this the same girl?
I don't know, and I'll never talk about the topic ever again. Maybe
Yes.
so. But I was
Yes.
blown away.
Oh, I get that.
Blown away by and honestly, like, regardless of her sentiment or thoughts on whether racism truly still exists or whether white people have it easier than people of color,
What did she say?
Cringed
What did she say?
before.
I'm trying to find the tweet.
She'll
right now.
he'll find the
She
tweet,
might
but
have
it just
deleted bro.
it made me feel so disgusting, dude. Like such a clear play for clout that involved a subject that should never be brought into clout plays. Like, it was just
It was here. She tweeted, "Logan loves to challenge people in the boxing ring. I'd like to publicly challenge him to go a few rounds with me in a political debate." At Logan Paul, how about you stop by my show and explain to me how your checks notes more privileged than me because you're white and I.
Hey, Sam Cedar, I've got another opportunity for you. You need to get in contact with the producer for Logan Paul's show. Sam Cedar and his fucking producer are like the Usurker Creed of online politics. He can deep strike anywhere at any time, okay? Christ. Fucking, Steven Crowder's in the hospital right now, and every single time like a male nurse comes in, you know, like a big guy, like he tenses up a little bit because he's worried it's going to be Sam Cedar who has infiltrated the medical operations of the hospital to get him, you know? He's laying on his back, you know, he's talking about his day, and he hears from the person kneeling over to get his bedpan, you know, oh, that's funny, Crowder. Now, didn't you have something to say to me? And Sam Cedar stands up, towering over the prostrate Crowder.
I'm not. And mind you, bro, this video is from like a year ago. And I'm not sure how it just caught any sort of traction, right? But I'm perplexed, to say the least.
Big reminder, big reminder, by the way, that Candace Owens has talked about this 1,000 times, and she still believes that white privilege means you're always more privileged than people who aren't white. Like, look, like every time it's the same straw man over and over. They keep saying the white privilege conspiracy theory means all white people are more privileged than all black people, which nobody has ever said anywhere, but they continue to pretend that's the thing.
I'm perplexed, to say the least. And I started to entertain this, actually. I ended up speaking with her, and there may be a future where we sit down and have a civil discourse, because I think
oh God,
I think there's some meat on this bone.
Oh God, no,
I
Logan.
Really do.
Logan, please. Logan, no. Fuck. God damn it, Logan. She's media trained. We need to train him. We need to prepare him. Oh fuck. I might actually email his producer. And nothing's gonna happen, but I feel like what is this? Thread. As I've been reflecting on my whiteness and atoning for it, I've realized condoms are a form of white supremacy, and I will no longer be asking black sexual partners to use them. This is a troll! This has to be! When did this get made? This got made last month! University professor, I'll not disclose which because of right-wingers. I may be white, but I'm making it right. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. This is the most obvious bait in the fucking universe, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, wow, I'm a white woman and a college professor at a nondescript university, and I'll no longer be requiring black men to wear condoms. They fuck my white pussy. Okay, sure. Thank you for your very extremely legitimate political discourse. Condoms are made for white men and by white men. Charles Goodyear invented the condom to spread venereal diseases. As you can see, Goodyear is not black and lived from 1800 to 1860s, which nearly guarantees that he was a racist. Condoms are not made for black men. Standard condoms have a length of 7.25 to 7.8 inches. Black men are typically closer to a foot when fully erect. Dude, this is 50% jerk-off shit for white cuck boys and 50% excellent bait, okay? This is pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Condoms are racist because they can't fit BBC. Asking a black man to wear a condom implies he carries an STD. It also harkens to the AIDS pandemic. The CDC even falsely states black men have more STDs, a racist fact, and but the STDs are much more, at least gonorrhea, are much more common in black people. So no, this is actually racism, not a jerk-off thing. Condoms are white or transparent, never black. Okay. I feel like if they had ended it on the third one, this could have been funny as shit. But now this is just like, racists say black people commit more crime, but that's not true. And then they link like FBI crime statistics or something. Like, okay, we know what you're doing. All right. Well, Nicki Minaj did say she don't F with no baggy Magnum. Dude, Magnum condoms aren't even that big. Magnum condoms are tight on me. The XL Magnum Trojan whatever ones. They're too it's not that they're too short, they're too skinny. They just call them Magnum condoms to make the guys feel better. Yeah, look, the best condom brand that I have ever used is My One. You can print out a little paper and it's got like measurements on it, and you cut off bits and you measure your dick, and then you put in an order for specific measurements that correspond to that which you've taken with the paper, and the condoms fit pretty good. My One. Yeah, it's good. They're affordable. They deliver. It's the future. Yeah, custom fit condoms. Yeah. Yeah, cut off your dick and send it into the plant for a measurement. You can literally pull a condom over your head. Come on, dude. Yeah, you'll notice that it's not comfortable either. Wait, do you think that, like, if you stretched a condom to the tautness of it being around your head, that it would feel good on your dick? Like, dude, condoms can take the stresses of plane crashes. Like, okay, I'd still like it to fit comfortably. Yeah, my dick doesn't have bones. I like my dick like I like my pizza, okay? Boneless. Would you let them sponsor you? You're a fucking shark, Tempest. No, maybe. No. Not getting condom sponsors today. All right, read the donos. Sad Boy Socialist and I See Dead Llamas, thank you for the $5 both. Yeah, I kind of do want to talk about DaBaby's homophobia, which is pretty crazy. I gotta make less DaBaby jokes, just so I don't, just so I don't help him out in his career. Matthew H. and Merritt, thank you for the $5 both. There's a guy named Matt Dimitri who defended your debate with Hinkle, but now he's calling you a grifter and a pedophile. Yep, VDS is a dangerous, dangerous disease. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10. Thank you very much. Only 30% of Vosh's audience has an F near their name. Stream must be up for everyone. True, I wish. Still live, thanks to the $2. Jazan, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. Cyrus Cloudo and Matthew H, thank you for the $5 both. Started watching, slowly becoming a big fan. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I try my best to keep it friggity fresh. The Star Trooper, thank you for the very kind $5. True. Still live with the $2. Agree. Sake Tanuki and Ada with the $10 both. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, union membership is massively on the decline, which is pretty cringe in itself. Reed Charbonneau and AntDog419, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. You can average 60 hours a week and still have long stretches of working 7/12s. Yeah, for sure. Am Bam with the tier 3 sub, thank you very, very much. Just realized I've been watching for over a year now. Found you through the Shane Dawson video. Thanks for the great content. By the way, you still going through that music list? It's been on hiatus for a while, but I intend to pick it back up. I still have a document, so everything's like kept in order. I can get back to it when I have time to, and when I want to. I just, it's just, music is dumb. We already discovered good music. We already figured out what good music was, and it was the Banjo-Kazooie OST. Everything since then has been an imperfect iteration upon that holy template, okay? Yeah, you all know. Dum 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 dun 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 down down dun dun down 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 dun dun down 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 dun 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 down down dun 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 dun. All right. That's enough of that. What was I about to look up on the other monitor? Oh yeah, YouTube analytics. Is the Shane Dawson thing still my main video? Is it still my largest video? God, that ended up so weird. I can't believe what a random thing. Let's see. All-time. Lifetime views. Yeah, Shane Dawson. Wow. 900,000. God damn. God damn. Got to do more normie shit? Yeah, we always got to do more normie shit. Oh, by the way. While I have you all as a captive audience, the second channel is doing really, really well. and I'm really proud of it. And I'd appreciate it if you all gave it a subareno. I think the second channel's analytics are progressing at a much faster clip than expected. It's already at nearly 50,000 subscribers, which is awesome enough on its own, but the view count has just been magically delicious, you know? We've had 3 days in a row about 85,000 views, which is just really, really awesome, you know? Portends many good things for the future. Anyway, as for the Vosh Pit channel, we upload there more frequently than the main channel for a number of reasons, largely because I want to. But look at these view counts, man. 67,000, 30, 37, 31, 26. It's like, damn. These videos are within a reasonable fraction of the main channel's videos, you know? That's pretty awesome. We'll get there. We'll get there. Dum 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 dum. The thumbnails are especially hilarious. Remember, all the credit goes to my editors. My streams haven't changed. My backend has. So you should be thanking Ryan and Tempest, who have been doing really, really good work. Yes, my back end has changed. That it has. Hey there, Ryan. Please update Chrome. I will. I will. Thank you. Maybe we should start talking more about socialism a little more, that you're getting larger reach. I think I talk about my ideas pretty often, but no, the second channel is doing well because it's appealing to the same basic viewer base. Actually, they recently added a really, really cool feature, and I don't know how old this is because I haven't checked my analytics in a while, but if you go to analytics now and you take a look at your audience, it now shows you, look at this, it now shows you the views that you got and returning viewers versus new viewers, which is really, really cool. Can I show this without revealing anything bad in the back end? Let me see. I think it's been there for a bit, but look at that. This is super cool stuff. The green line is new viewers, and the purple line is returning viewers. So whenever you get a big spike in the blue, it means green, blue, turquoise? It looks kind of turquoise to me. That means that a bunch of new people are jumping in, you know? Really nice. That's blue. It looks like, yeah, it looks turquoisey. Teal. Yeah, teal's good. I think it's teal. It's not like solid blue, you know? Shout out the clip channels. Oh, yeah, for sure. There are also a lot of really awesome clip channels, you know? Like Thermite and Voshite and Coconut Island. And, oh, and I want to say, and by the way, the original Vosh Pit. Wait, did I say Thermite? Thermia, my apologies. I just said Voshite, Thermite. No, Thermia. Thermia's been doing it longer than anyone else, actually. Let me look up everyone's channel. Hold on. Tempest, anyone I'm missing? I love my clip channels. Let it be known. Sour bread, yeah. Thermia makes really, really cool stuff, and has for a long time, and makes it consistently, too. 5 days ago, 2 days ago, 16 hours ago. Good stuff like that. Sour bread hasn't uploaded in a while, but we love them anyway, you know? Coconut Island, Coconut Island makes a lot of really good stuff. Also, Coconut Island was the one who gave us a lot of advice on the back end about managing our channel appropriately, you know? A lot of secret YouTube analytics, which we appreciate the information on, you know? Very, very good. Very, very important. You know what I'm talking about. Baby. I love my friends. My good clip channel friends. They love that thumbnail face palming, Vosh. Everyone on YouTube, they love the face palming. They love face palming. They do. I don't know. They go wild for it in the thumbnails. Bah, you know, people love it. Yeah, Mr. Cosmo. What's the former Vosh pit called now? I actually forget what its name was changed to. Hold on. I can find it in my email. Oh yeah, Alden's Archive. And I think those are the main 5 clip channels. Though, mind you, Alden's Archive hasn't posted in like 6 months, so. Amogus content. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. Just let it be known, I love my wonderful clip channels. Let's get through these donos, I got stuff to do. Dan Halen and Val Herfnaz, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. Can you pin your channel trailer on YouTube? That would be Pog. I have it pinned for new viewers. I can pin it for old ones, too. Yeah, that'd be nice. I like the channel trailer a lot. Deadly Pendergrass, thank you for the $3. I remember working at Walmart a few years back. They make me watch videos about how bad unions are, then would take advantage of my work ethics and fire me, lol. Yeah, it's rough out there. Vinny Holiday and Andrew Kelly, thank you for the $5 both. I'm familiar with the Second Thought channel, and thank you for the congratulations on the weight loss. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, for sure, Vinny. Repcon with a very kind $11. Shout out to White Nervosa for helping me with my OAuth troubles. Much appreciated. Don't know what that is or means, but I do love White Nervosa. Solomon Roy, thank you for the very kind $10. Wellbutrin used to be marketed at the compulsive gambling community. Kind of a fun fact. That's interesting. Wonder why. Pandemic at the Disco and Rosenrot, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. And happy birthday, Rosenrot. I'm delighted that you've enjoyed my channel in the interim. Have I responded to Big Joel yet? Wait, what did Big Joel say? Is this the thing that Big Joel tweeted but apparently deleted? I was informed of this the other day, that Big Joel tweeted something about consequentialism and then deleted it. All right. Big Joel can come on and talk if they want to. I'm on good terms with them. I'm not going to, like, argue. Unless they say something, you know. You made fun of his mic? Oh, well, the mic was pretty bad when he came on. Oh, here's the don't walk, run guy. I'm not a conservative idiot. If you don't want to work forced overtime, get another job. It's pretty easy. God damn, man. This guy's brain is a fucking marble. Dude, just like, if the job's bad, then why not just get the... Why just, like, you could just, like, get another job, bro. Just truly the highest level of economic discourse. Yogs of Thought and Sheem T, thank you for the $5 both. Wellbutrin fucked me up bad. Amphetamine's worth a lot better for me, especially Evecchio/Events. Everyone's different, though. Well, I'll be taking a low dosage, so hopefully I don't fucking die. Uriel X and I'm Cheese, thank you for the $5 both. Got my high school diploma hypers. Congratulations, I'm Cheese. That's awesome. Don't know if you watch Breaking Points, but they've gone full Nosble and not hiding it. Crystal is basically Diet Sagar. Hope she doesn't infect Crystal Kyle and friends next. We'll cover it soon. And hey, I'm not lost my edge. If they say dumb shit, we're going to go after them hard. And if I ever talk to her in the future, I'll make sure she knows it, okay? Alexiel and Tyrannatics, thank you for the $5 both. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Tyler. I really appreciate that as well. Yeah. Still live, the Dubucks. Do you think creep shaming is a tactic people use? Yes, an effective one. Derek88 and Kyle Maines, thank you for the $5 both. No, I did not see the Cedar Destiny debate. And Derek, thank you for being an awesome dude and helping me flesh out my arguments. My pleasure, man. I'm really happy that they've been able to affect you positively. Stockade with the $10. Why do they even call them magnums? I can't fit more than the barrel of my 45 Magnum in it. I want a condom that goes all the way to the grip. Condoms are stretchy. You could do that. I believe in you. Just pull it harder. Safari Monkey and Sake Tanuki, again, thank you for the $10 both. I really appreciate that. Why didn't the electrocuted guy just open a window? True. Regarding who Michael Fanone resembles, I put forward Jay Harrington on SWAT. Oh, shit, this dude totally looks like the Capitol Police officer. 100%. Crispy Bacon and Vinny Holiday, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. Hydronal, thank you for the $2. Bennick, thank you for the very kind $10. You wake up in a debate. Vosh already has all the counter-arguments to the coconut analogy. He'd be willing to share if he threw his cock. Maybe. Dan29A, thanks to the Tier 1 sub. Ingy Bingy, thank you for the $5. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. True. Sake Tanuki with the $10. Can you give this a listen? Game music that slaps? For like 2 seconds, but this is probably copyright. This is Sonic music. Everyone knows Sonic music slaps. Absolutely. Sonic music absolutely slaps. It's the only good thing about the franchise in retrospect. Sai6, thank you for the $5. I was too quiet last time I was on Tim's show. I'll be sure to scream this time. Thank you. Jaden Solo, thanks to 420. Do your fucking dishes. Thank you. AT5D2D Derek, thank you for the $5. Unappreciated meme with original guitar. Was to go through life feeling like this much of a victim. This actually outpaces any of the shit you see on the Daily Wire, like Steven Crowder or some shit like that. Look at this, like, yeah, only some men, you have to imagine this is being typed through tears. Yeah, only some men are dating because there are only so many good women left. Good women. An oxymoron if there ever was one. Even the good ones, they'll still hate men and treat us as nothing. Why grass? It sucks, and you never even use it. The only time you use your fucking grass lawn is to walk to one of your 3 fucking SUVs so you can drive to fucking Applebee's to pick up food for your husband because you fucking burned the fucking turkey because you were too busy fucking the person you paid to cut the grass. It's a tree. Your grandkids will fuck their high school sweethearts in shade, okay? I have never thought anything racist. I've never said it before. Well, I read Huckleberry Finn once, and I had to read it out loud then in class. It was during cram school, and I was wondering if, okay, could you forgive me? I said it, and everyone moved on, but since then, just to let you know, I'm comfortable using this bus stop. I'm not uncomfortable around people of color, like yourself. You're not just a tan white man, right? No. Your clothing indicates that you're of a Hispanic type. I'm not racist. 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 That was good. That slapped. That was good. Thank you. The question from Big Joel was, A study comes out indicating Mario Kart sometimes inspires a feeling of competitiveness in people so intense they occasionally kill people they're playing with in a blind rage. The study claims that if this new Mario game is released, an estimated 10 murders will happen. Oh. Is it something particular to the design of the Mario game and they could make edits to that design that would prevent that from happening? I don't know. It's... Is this an SCP? Sweetie Bear with the $5 started painting new 40k orcs. Based. Hey, that looks sick. Those look really cute. I like the Doctor Strangelove vibes. Very, very good. Sake Tanuki with the $20. My goodness. You guys are getting OK Buddy segments now. They're even getting published on the Vosh Pit channel, as they will continue to be. That's a pretty good pog there, though. This could be like a Twitch pog, you know? Like, that's a pretty good pog, I think. with the additional 20 bucks. My God, man. Stocky! Oh, I see. Okay, I see. If he uploaded Okay Buddy Vosh segments to the main channel instead of the Vosh Pit. They do fine on the Vosh Pit, okay? They do just fine on the Vosh Pit. All right, what did that last one get? Views-wise? Like 30,000? What did it get? Where is it? Where is it? 40,000 views? Okay. Clearly it's not that bad. All right. Thank you. Casey Marlowe, thank you for the very kind $5. I get you. Stocky, with the additional 20 bucks, you're being too the hell kind to me. Jimmy's neck doesn't hurt because of the vaccine. It hurts because he's constantly trying to blow himself because he always thinks he's right. Fucking true. Musadori, thank you for the very kind 14 Canadian. My girlfriend just dumped me out of the blue. Any advice on getting over her and restarting and reinventing myself? I love the show and love from Canada. First of all, I'm really sorry. I mean, I can't give overly specific advice because I don't know you, but you probably want to find time to rediscover yourself, to figure out how to live on your own, what hobbies you enjoy. Basically, try to channel all the negative energy into a font of self-improvement. That's the best thing that you can do in situations like this. It does suck and there's no getting over that, but oftentimes, like brighter and better pastures, okay? Just don't obsess, don't linger. If you can end up continuing to be friends with them in a healthy way, then that's good. But if not, then don't linger on it, you know? And watch plenty of Vosh. That's always good for mental health. Nebuco with the $5. I'm having good results with venlafaxine, similar to Wellbutrin. Might be good to ask Doc's opinion on it. For sure. I have an appointment soon. And Caden Michael with a very kind $10. I hate the discourse of Soakdem versus Anarchist. I have no questions. I just wanted to ask. Unfortunately, a lot of left-leaning people are more interested in battling it out online to determine which one of their ideologies is the most hypothetically good, as opposed to, like, working together towards collectively, you know, reasonable solutions. It can be frustrating. And it happens a lot. Okay, I've got stuff to do. I love you all very much. I'm gonna go get, I don't know, some ADHD medication. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I love you all very much. You are beautiful, beautiful people. And you are loved. You know? So take care. Who on Twitch are we assisting today? Hold on. Back to Twitch. Let's see. We got, yeah, Lance. Let's go to Lance. Throw it out. Raid. Surfs TV. Go in there. Don't embarrass me, etc., etc. I love you all very much. Everyone take care. Have yourselves a wonderful day. And I have no doubt that I will make your acquaintance soon, okay?